Invitational for both of these teams. They have certainly come far, and they've never played each other on stage before, so just up in the ante there a little bit. I'm Jackie Jing. I'm feeling a little bit left out, though. I'm going to be completely honest, because Dev and Mandy are wearing pink. They got pink in their hair. Hello?
Jackie, didn't you get the memo? On Mondays, we wear pink.
It's Wednesdays.
Oh.
But it's fine.
I thought it was Wednesday today. It's my bad.
I love Mandy just like, hi. But let's get to this amazing series that we have ahead of us. W7M, the tournament favorites, versus M80, the underdogs. Dev, things are heating up here.
Absolutely are. Of course, we saw W7M play BDS earlier today. That could have been a grand final, but it wasn't. W7M won it, and now they play M80, nigh undefeated in groups. The only loss they had was one that technically didn't even matter because they'd already secured first seed. This is also one of the longest running rosters at Six Invitational. They haven't made any changes since they formed as X at 11 months ago.
Yeah, Dev, I was just going to say, they've only been together 11 months and they have achieved so much. It's wild.
Absolutely have. They've managed a top 4 finish in their very first season, in fact, and they managed to get to Charlotte, go top 4. They went to Berlin, also managed to get top 4 again. Stage 3, though, was a bit of a drop-off for M80, so for me, coming in, my description for their group was they should be first in their group, assuming they can find their Berlin form, because if not, things could look a bit grim. Turns out there was nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry, Mandy, continue.
No, I just wanted to say, for this roster as well, these guys are so young. This is such a young roster, and they've come into it, and every single international event, they've just been absolutely flying through it. This is a roster that feels like they've been around for a while, right? But really, they're brand new.
Yeah, and also what we love about them is they're bringing the LATAM style and the NA style together, the fragging power and the flexibility, right?
Yes, I really like the way that they've done it. So if you're from LATAM and you're seeing this pseudo LATAM showdown, hello, welcome. Of course, Julio in his interview when he was here with us was like, this matchup is going to bring the noise because it's Bodega versus me. And so it was really exciting. Yeah, but I really like the way that they structure their team. They've got this 5-man cooling roster, which is really LATAM style as well. They bounce ideas off each other really, really well. And it's just going to be super exciting to see these teams go off against each other.
Definitely excited about that. But very quickly, we have an interview with M80. So roll the tape. Let's take a listen.
The way I feel about our team's performance in the group stage, I mean, we always do good in groups, so it was kind of expected. So yeah, I'm just happy we did good. We got first. It was a little sloppy in a few maps, but we got it done. Our game in playoffs is going to be either against w7m or BDS. The winner of that, I don't really know what to expect to that game. Like, whoever's shooting the most is going to perform and just play us. I don't really care who we play, because if you want to be a champion, you just have to beat everyone, so yeah. We want to improve in playoffs to the group stages. We would like to play more aggro a bit in certain maps and just like talk a lot more than we were doing in the group stages. And also, like, playoffs are just a whole different game, so like we just have to go nuke. The team that we think is like the biggest threat right now is M&M, because like they're just going absolutely nuclear. We scrimmed them, we got smoked. So I don't know if they're just a scrim team, but like I said, like playoffs is just a whole new game. So I'm confident. For the group stages, like we couldn't really counter a lot, but now for playoffs, like we have time, so we're gonna counter them a lot. So teams, be ready. I just want to let everyone know that we don't really care who we play. We're gonna smoke everyone. We're gonna get first. So yeah, all the teams gotta be careful with us.
Definitely feeling confident there. We always love to see that. But let's get to their opponent now, W7M. Dev, we said this off of the top. They are favored to win the whole thing here. They are a powerful team.
Well, W7M have had a cracker of a 2022 season. They made it to every single major. They got first place in the global standings. They haven't yet won a championship outside of Brazil. And to be honest, I reckon that it's been a tougher group stage than expected. They were in the group of death, and they only managed to get third place. They've started to redeem themselves here in playoffs already by taking down BDS, though it wasn't convincing. It was a very hard-fought 2-1.
Okay, and Mandy, W7M, favorite team? You're like,
Yes,
I like
do
them.
like
You were talking about Julio's interview a little bit earlier. What really stood out to it about you? You were saying that they scrim each other, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Julio on the interview was like, so these guys, they're our scrim partners. We know them inside out. Like, they know each other's mannerisms inside of the lobby. So Julio was saying in the interview, they're going to try and bring out some stuff that's specifically going to work against M80 to try and counter their playstyle because they know each other so well.
Okay, so Dev, I know that you're looking through the spreadsheets. You're bringing up some cool facts here. Anything particularly exciting about this matchup to you?
Well, one thing that I really noticed in the BDS w7m game earlier today is just how good w7m are at getting opening kills. Turns out they're actually the second best opening kill team in the tournament. They get that opening kill 58% of the time, and so I'm always going to be looking at w7m in those early rounds and whether they're going to be able to capitalize on hunting down roamers or punishing any aggression from M80.
And I really think it leans into the way that w7m structure their attacking style. They have really great entries of KZ, of Herds, excellent frontline players. Not only that, but a lot of the time, they have their support players flex onto things that are specific for roam clearing. You have Julio, who not only does he play hard breach, but he can also flex onto the Lion, onto the Dokkaebi, onto the Jackal. Whatever it is, they enable that roam clear so well through the early game, in my opinion, better than pretty much any other team in this lineup.
Okay, and I believe that we are ready to move on to map ban vetoes. We're going to get that information up on the screen right now. Dev, I'll put you in the hot seat first. What do you think?
Okay, so a lot of the bans are fairly elementary. It looks like I haven't seen anything too crazy, but I'm just going to jump straight into the picks because the really exciting one for me is our very first map, which is Border. Now, if w7m had beaten Koi on Border in their final game of the groups, they would be on a 10-match winning streak on this map. But of course, Koi got the better of them. Koi won out in OT. It was a very tight game, and there were a lot of things that Koi did to punish w7m that I've no doubt M80 will be looking to do to punish. That was even said in the interview from M80 just before we started this segment. GMZ, or Gomez, said, we're going to be countering people so much more in this. So I'm expecting them to be really bringing the heat to w7m on that map.
Yeah, and I think just taking this map veto from the perspective of each team, from w7m, their auto ban is Banks, they take that out. Skyscraper as well is, in my opinion, a counter ban to M80, and then they pick Border, which is a map that they've been performing on pretty well at the moment. M80's perspective, they have a much more clear ban phase, in my opinion. They pretty much always ban out Cafe, Villa, or Chalet in some order, something like that. So I think M80, they have a map pool that they're comfortable with, and they feel like they're going to play to their strengths, whereas w7m, they're more going for M80's weaknesses.
All right, well, they are scrim partners, but this is the real deal. w7m versus M80. Blue and Stokes, take it away, gentlemen. And we got some Stream A action ahead, too, so don't go anywhere.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Let's get ready for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Our second matchup of the day. Getting ripping and rolling here as we got M80 up against w7m. Two roster-wise Latin American teams about to duke it out against each other, but obviously M80 having that little bit of extra North American flair. We'll have to see if it's enough to pit them up against one of the best Latin American teams so far at this event, and potentially for the whole tournament overall in w7m.
Yes, indeed. A lot of action to be had. I'm very excited to see what M80 and w7m have in store for each other. Both of these rosters feel like they're filled to the brim with talent. Any player able to step up at any moment in time. So, again, just very excited to see what they can do. And not only that, we have a powder keg initially, John. We've got Border on the docket. How are you feeling about this?
Oh, it's going to be a mess, basically, as we get ourselves into it. But it's going to be a fun mess at that. I'm not trying to dig at anyone there. But I think it's going to be, once again, both these teams really trying to show us what they can do from an individual perspective. Specifically, you've got those upstairs holds. The players on the inside of security are going to have their day, but essentially to play around, especially if we go into this matchup and a zombie's not banned out, things like that, really have a potential to just go absolutely crazy. Much like the end of that last series we were watching with Oxygen as well. I think it was over on the A stream, but some really chaotic stuff going on there, for instance, to close things down. Expect a heck of a lot more of that inside of this series, I would think.
There's beauty in chaos, John, and that's what both of these teams imbue into their gameplay. Both of them having some fantastic win rates on both sides of the coin here at SI. w7m with a 60% win rate on their defensive end, a 51.4 on their offense. As for M80, a 56% on their defensive side, so a little bit less than w7m, but a much better offensive side, 59%. So neck and neck. I'm really, really excited for when w7m's on defense. M80's on their best side right there on offense, especially on a map like Border. They can really make things congested on both ends. You have those smoke plays, stuns, those nades you can use to clear out some of those hard-to-reach places like half wall and stuff for armory. A lot of other utility pieces we've seen to try and abuse Border so far. Excited to see how this one's going to break down. What bans are we going to have? I mean, the last time you and I casted this, we saw Azami as well as Solus make it through, which is something that I didn't really think that was ever going to happen.
Well, not to mention, we saw like Thermite get banned out as well.
Oh, that was for Clubhouse.
Yeah.
That was for
Oh, that's right. That was Clubhouse, not Border.
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
yes,
myself,
that
yeah.
was
a little bit too ahead of myself there. But indeed, yeah, if those operators are left in play and these guys try to go for a little bit more of a traditional ban to throw off their opponents, it could leave things in a very chaotic matchup as well, just on the nature of that one. Even from the individual perspective, in terms of who we're going to be looking to potentially step up. You know you've got the dynamic duo over on the M80 side of things, Kino as well as Yaga. Either one has been able to step up in multiple rounds already, just in the group stage, and they're certainly going to have their day to do so here now. M80's first run in the bracket now, since they got a bye due to their position in the groups. We're getting into map number 1 now, as they take on W7M on Border.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this M80 versus W7M here on Border. A map that we've been seeing so very much so far this tournament, so why wouldn't we have it here yet again, John? I do believe, and yes, indeed, it is our most played map. I'm just going to refresh everything real quickly on my end just to double check that nothing changed in our last couple of bouts. We did have one extra play, so this will actually be the 18th play here, not the 17th. That already got covered. There's been 200 rounds played on this map as well. It's tied up with Clubhouse, which had 201 rounds played so far. So just 400 rounds between those two maps. Absolutely ludicrous. We're going to have a couple more here, right now. We're going to have the Ying ban, the Glass ban as well. A very unique one from M80, but they don't want W7M to have that little flair in their back pocket.
Custom tailoring it against him. It's an interesting pick. Even the Ying one, kind of an interesting target, potentially being thrown out there by W7M. As not wanting to potentially challenge that. When we see M80 get onto the attacking side, they're going to remove that from play. The defender ban's going much more to a normal point here, as far as I am concerned, is Solus is going to be the first one to get knocked out. She's oftentimes been the first pick on band for quite a few of these matches. Also the newest operator. Definitely a bit tuned up at the moment, as some teams would agree with that statement, so we've been seeing her banned out quite a bit. Valkyrie, though, corresponds to that one, which means we will have a Zami left in play. That solo capability to ignite a single player into areas like the security room upstairs is going to be alive and well just because of her utility.
Absolutely. These defensive bans as well almost feel like Border perfected for that side, right? You want to get rid of the Solus, want to make it where they can't get rid of your drones early, get rid of the Valkyrie, kind of hinder their info game as well. These offensive bans working in pretty swimmingly as well for both sides. The Glass one, obviously very unique, probably not something that M80 was going to use at all, so really just a spot ban against W7M. But as for the Ying, that's something that M80 is quite proficient with, and a lot of teams are, so definitely think it's a good consideration moving into this map. Excited to see what W7M can pull off now. We've got the Mira in, as well as the castle barricades. Let's look to see what they kind of want to break up with these. Looks like we'll be able to get rid of things over on the jungle side and make it a little more difficult for M80 to transition through these rooms on the base floor.
Away from that, though, no huge surprises going to be showing up. The fact that we have that upstairs commitment to begin with here from W7M, as Stokes already mentioned, the castle there, just kind of creating a little bit more of a maze for M80 to try and work their way through. Should have no trouble dealing with that utility, of course, specifically with Diaz coming onto this one on the Ash, and plenty of other mechanisms to get past that aside from that, too. Gridlock is going to be the interesting one here for M80. A lot of ways they can basically just block out access, specifically to the closet part of this site, too, down below. If they are able to get full coverage on that with the track stingers, it's going to be very difficult for W7M to pull off a retake should the case be slapped down onto the ground.
Well, I think the elephant in the room here has got to be Gridlock. You know, we have this moving in with the track stingers, something that we don't really see very commonplace when it comes to this map. Fantastic for the stairwells as well. So I definitely think that the track stingers and Gridlock could really shine through for M80. Might get some control around CCTV, where that could be easily exploitable as well. On such a small map, very condensed, those track stingers really do shine. So now for M80, transitioning over to an office take. They've got some air jabs to try and suffice. The secondary shotgun works well here too, super shorty for Spirits, and he'll apply it handedly towards the office wall.
Julio with the position downstairs, patiently waiting for an angle against one of his opponents to be able to pop something out here, but not going to be able to find it this early on. However, what he is going to be able to do is deny some of that hard breach being chucked back in there. Selma, I believe, being deployed by Kino, is shot out immediately by the M590 from below. Kino, of course, latching on to this one, catches it. Now starts to attempt to establish a counter angle, but as you can see, the rotate for it is blocked off. Julio has put some forethought into this one, and even on the hop in here, it won't necessarily be a safe push outright to take him down. Pressure is still on, don't get me wrong, though, for Julio, as he is the target right now from M80 to try and lock him out and open up a pathway to potentially to the site afterwards.
Unfortunate for Julio. Backed off that angle. He'll be droned out now, and they successfully found him back inside of stalls. Spirits trying to get aggressive. Oh, the big shotgun play from Julio will take him down. Has a nice little rotation to play back towards the teller's window here as well. DS will be able to take down JV92 all in the process of this. Selman's out, creates some new angles for Kino. He's also got the case in hand, so M80 have got to assist him here. He's locked up on this side, air jab in. Not really going to assist. Trying to get some pressure in from the door, but the smoke play is starting to work in too.
Big jump up comes in there from Julio as he's finally ready for the challenge, but immediately decked by Kino. Rest of the M80 roster trying to swing their way forward. Yaga on point here to establish overwatch for the flank. W7M will realize this, back away, and just maintain their upstairs presence as a result of that. Not going to try to play for any crazy flanks. They have too much overwatch for it. And on top of that, I mean, they still have these top angles that M80 have not really cleared out yet. Kino, though, able to find an assumably safe position to go for a plant. Quickly re-guesses on that, however, puts himself down into a new spot. Same thing happens the second time here. He cannot find a safe harbor. The good news is he's drawing rotations in from that upstairs hole, but they are still quickly collapsing upon this. Diaz now the only one remaining, and KZ closes it out. W7M give a definitive first round here. That upstairs clear attempt never seen, unfortunately, from the M80 side. And as such, they will drop things down here on round number 1.
A picture-perfect display of how to hold things down from the top floor, abusing the full verticality from the defensive end, something that we don't see a lot of teams able to pull off to such a degree. So very well done from W7M. Not a single body on the site. Get everybody killed through the hatches and everything else in between. M80, some solid pushes. Love that they tried to go for the control onto the site, but a lot of the frag potential lost. Not really able to show their teeth like they're used to in the early round.
Yeah, Julio's hold down below was great too, just because it denied that hard breach that would have more than likely led into M80 clearing things out on the top stairs roam. As a result of his position, they really couldn't continue with that clear. Had to go down, take him down instead. Well, yes, they did it. The problem was they needed like 3 players in position to be able to pull that one off. And by the time they killed him, they were like, well, we're already here. We might as well just go for the site. And that was when they made the fatal mistake of assuming they could get past it without clearing the upstairs hold. And the following resulting gunfight ensued.
Yeah, it was well struck from Julio. And like you said, I mean, just keeping Kino hung up for that time is really the killer of the round, because they had to immediately try and play for the site instead. And it gave everything over to W7M that they wanted in the first place, which was a low time situation, so they can use that, upstairs presence to try and collect the majority of the M80 bodies rolling in. So past that, though, into round 2, a nice little adjustment as we'll head towards the sky. Warden will come in, Mira will stay. How the Oryx, though, here from Herds and some rotations being made across border. W7M favoring a lot of these walls to be more open than what we see from a lot of squads traditionally.
Definitely try to play out their avenues a little bit more with that type of setup. M80, though, taking a few minutes to analyze it because of that, because it's not necessarily what they expect to see at the beginning of this round.
These Twitch drones are going to be big for Yaga.
See if he's able to move them into a pivotal position.
Lost one.
As he tries to sneak him forward for the mirror window, but as Stokes said, immediately spotted out by the Warden playing on the other side of it there. Shuts it down. Second one is nearby, so they can make another attempt at it. Let's see. Wait for the all clear, I think, from his teammate. Problem is JV92. He sees it. Yeah, this is way too easy for him to shoot it back out. The other drone, there's a drone for the drone here, believe it or not. It actually spots that one, kills it, and goes outside for the Twitch drone too, because there's no actual player presence on this balcony right now. Diaz, as you can see, is watching for a flank from south, if I saw that correctly. And yeah, M80 is just way too busy to be worried about that, so they'll lose the second Twitch drone here. Unfortunately, won't be able to knock out that mirror window. It is staying in place for the rest of this round unless they want to use hard breach on it.
I think KZ was feeling himself a little bit here on the break room door and ended up dying. So M80 have their pick. Have plenty of time still as well, but don't have a way to bunker bust the mirror now that holds down their balcony. So have to try and transition this into something else. I try and move this over towards office, but as of right now, at least with this timer, looks like they're going to try and stick this out on this side. Julio looking to try and head this off. Nice little interaction here with the Ash. Not going to take the gunfight just yet. He'll roll back in. Once again, just trying to keep those bodies up. They are in a man-down position, so can't give any more of these big bodies over towards M80. Otherwise, this round will more than likely come with it.
Taking point. Don't follow.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
Julio to
been
move
dropped.
forward. He'll position himself on that balcony wrap. No actionable players in position, however, so he has to hold back. The tight angle, waiting to see what the next move is going to be from M80. Still has the option to fully wrap, even though those track slingers block his way over on the main hallway path. He will be finally found out here as he tries to inch just a little bit too close to that east main doorway. Elsewhere, Spirits is going to land a nice one via the nade against Hertz. Brings him down another number, but in pursuit of quite a few of these attackers upstairs, we're seeing w7m retake all the map control they gave up a few seconds prior here. Yaga finally puts a stop to that, at least to some extent, but Julio still going unnoticed here in the depths of Copier. They knew he fell back, they just didn't know how far, and that's the problem. They double guess on it. Diaz goes 1 for 1 against him. That's the problem now. Less than 10 seconds to plant down to the ground. He has to rush into the site, doesn't have time to check his corners, and as a result, JV92 gets the free shutdown. It's a 2-0 lead now for w7m.
Olha pro teu pai. Bota pra fuder, porra. Vai perder pro idoso, porra! Guys, me escuta. Alfândega, Erdina de C4, Júlio de Biriba. Tá? Fechou?
Fantastic round so far. At least for w7m's sake. Through 2, on to round 3. Constantly able to get in front of the bull that is M80. Quite impressive what they're able to do from that position as well. You can see Julio there constantly showing face, giving that pressure over inside of 90, rotating off, going over towards Ease, has that little interaction with the man on the break door, backs off, throws himself over into office, just delaying constantly, John, throwing looks, making them respect him. The moment that nobody's watching that is the moment that somebody steps up and gets some big kills. And that's the thing there. Julio is playing with that ghost pressure that exists in people's minds. So very strong, not only from him, but the rest of the roster as well. w7m really doing well when it comes to not only their delays, but also managing their utility. We had that early interaction with the Twitch drones as well that was handled quite swimmingly. So w7m so far so good, looking for a perfect rotation around, and not only that, they're going to Supplies Customs, and this is quite unique actually, John. 200 rounds have been played. This will be round 203. It will only be the 8th round played on Supply Customs. And it's at a 29% defensive win rate, so w7m could change that.
Let's see if things go their way. There's a quick opening towards jail. I believe goes off there. We'll leave a little bit more of an attacking round open for M80, but w7m have a bit of a late resistance play coming into this one. You can see the Aruni up on top punching some holes out to try and see if she can establish some winning angles against the push through jail itself, but no sign of the actual play coming in just yet here for M80. Still a bit more time needing to be ticked down. That Aruni, as well as the rest of w7m's defense, still has some time to bait out here before they're going to be potentially thrusted into action. Spirits very close to having his head get chopped right off there by Volps.
If that was not the ump, he probably dies. The rate of fire, you saw that bullet tracer right next to his head. Anything else more than likely kills him there. Able to literally slip through the bullets.
Reloaded.
w7m. So far so good, so dominant over M80, but this is looking like the round that they could potentially build up to. Hard-fought defensive site for w7m. This top floor position means so very much. JV92, he'll shut down Yaga. Goes for the swing on the outside, won't find much, but it's Herds instead. Shut down from Spirits. Potential for KZ there, won't find much. Spirits now looking for something on the top floor, but Volps makes his presence known. He'll take him out with the ump.
Matrix setup from w7m continues to trip up M80. They just cannot seem to do anything about these bunkers out from the site, as yet again they strike true and give a massive impact to slow down, if not outright destroy, the potential of this attacking lineup. Kino moving in. Oh no, hasn't even noticed JV92 hiding behind the computer desk as it sits here. It's the prop that keeps him in it. Fires out. He was incredibly low HP, so it's a miracle he gets away with one. Kino had an expected play there, is able to trade it back out in a 1-for-1, but still, even just the single 1-for-1 trade he gets there is enough to pretty much lock in the round win. He'll try to drop it, and immediately Julio, with waiting arms, will receive him, sending out his spray in the process to shut down the round. That's a 3-0 perfect run now from w7m.
I was waiting to see if we were going to get the tack timeout there, and there it is. As soon as I say something, my hopes have been answered. So, M80 will call attack. Let's listen in here.
What we need to do, bro? let's talk about that. Okay? Now it's probably gonna be armor. Let's do the East.
No, it's gonna be workshop. It's gonna be workshop.
Okay, so bro, let's get top. Let's do the East like default. Let's get top for buffs, like we talking about. Okay?
Yeah.
As long as you go hyper with Diaz, you pinch the guy there. You enter rafter. You enter East and hold rafters, y'all. Let's get top. Don't, bro. Get up the comps. Shoot focus, bro. We still can't win this fucking shit, okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the rounds that we lost. Let's go, bro.
Let's go, boys.
All right, the pause will close out there.
A little tired, it seems. Just shaking off the day. That's always the thing about this slot as well. I mean, are you an early morning person? Are you a late night person?
Well, it's important to know this is w7m's second game of the day.
That too as well, w7m as well.
And maybe this is their first of the whole bracket stage so far. Keep in mind, they placed first in their group. So they had that upper bracket bye going into this one. Got skipped the first round of games, only just now moving into it here in the second round.
Yeah, which can be a positive and a negative, right? w7m, they've played a lot more rounds today than M80, right? So they can be a little more tired, but they're also more than likely going to be a little bit more on. They already won a competitive match today. This is just feeling like a longer day of scrims to them at this moment. As for M80, they're coming off of those big dubs, trying to pick things up here today. The ball rolling for their very first day back. And so far hasn't been the greatest. I think it was a great time for a tag timeout. Got to give them a moment to recollect themselves and try and reapply for round 4.
And as we get ourselves into those rounds, we'll take a peek and see how M80 looks to try and establish some initial control across the map. For the most part, just going to be the usual expected runouts here. Not saying runouts, but run-ins, I guess, would be more appropriate. As JV92 attempts to fire out a few bullets here from the MP5, see if he can grab a lucky shot or two against the players from M80, holding his counter position on the outside of jail, but none of that will end up coming to fruition. M80 still having to wait for their first real bit of intel that they can action upon here, and where specifically they're going to need to try and clear things out is, of course, pretty fully rounded back now. W7m having the full side choice, and instead is going to go in towards Tellers here for their 4th round, the first go-around since we started to lock things in back on round number 1. I mean, it looks like they are finally able to establish that first bit of control over here on the inside of security, with really only Spirits taking command of it for the time being, just opening up a pathway for the rest of his teammates to work their way into. The rest of the team, with a bit of a focus to be grouped up with his teammate in a moment here. Definitely seems like they are going to be trying to take things pretty heavily from that break room side, and indeed, Arnie looking to try and work on popping open the wall going into Fountain as well to split up this defense and prevent the hold on the inside of Office from being so successful, hopefully forcing down the players inside of this area. Through that hatch a little bit early too, and it looks like that play has been a relative success. KZ, though, comes storming in from the catwalk. He's able to steal one away there as he eliminates Kino. Diaz, though, is ready for an exchange, trades it back. W7m does not get away with this one. However, JV92 will find that pickup against Yaga. Directly contesting once again from the balcony doorway. Yaga tries to peek into it from the outside window, pays the price. And yet again, W7m now ahead. Maybe seeing an equalizer come in here, though, as Volps shredded down to low HP and finished off now by Gomez, but Volps gets a little bit of a goodbye present there against Gomez before going down himself. Hurts as well, slapped through the soft wall next to him. So he'll be eliminated, and finally, M80 has a little bit of an edge to play on now.
Oh, what a shot from JV92. Finds the lineup. Big nitro from Julio as well. It's down to DS. It looked like M80 finally had a round they're going to be capable of. They know he had to drop. Heard that singular shot. Usually a telltale sign. No one's going to move, though. Trying to play off their own crosses. You see him built up inside a bathroom here. No, he's on the cam. Rotates his way into Teller. Swings back through. Close on the door. Big shots, but the TCSG's better. The slugs rip them apart, and W7m remain perfect on border.
W7m continue to hold on to this defensive side, still yet to give up a round against the M80 attack, and only 2 to go as well. A definitive scoreline that has been put forward here is only continuing to get worse for M80. The pause as well did not seem to bring out many results from the previous round, and obviously now it's been used up. There's no second chance at that one. How does M80 recenter themselves now? Well, I'm not sure if that's the answer, but we'll certainly find out as a Blackbeard has been soft-picked by M80.
It'll win you a gunfight.
But will it win you the round?
Those are 2 different questions. You can't do that to me. All right.
I just like being dramatic, you know. It's like
The Spirits is going
the
to
obvious
so far
follow-up
stick
question.
it. Yeah, it's true.
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was
He's
going to
found
happen.
his consciousness. He's moved off of it. We've actually had a Blackbeard Osa setup. That's like the most like troll rank setup possible as well. We've
Yeah,
had
what's that in?
I actually can't remember. I did see it on Twitter though, but absolutely hilarious. They pulled that off. They're gonna work the gridlock back in this time with the Nook, so might have a counter angle here from Spirits. Y'all gonna be back on the Twitch. The mirrors are in play, so we'll see if he can battle it out up against Bulbs again.
So Blackbeard this time, as you kind of might expect, just not really seeing him synchronize into the meta as of yet.
He's got secondary EMPs though, John.
True.
They can play him if they want.
And he, like you said, he can win a gunfight. That's,
He can definitely win a
It's
gunfight.
been a bit of a problem point for M80 so far here, his initial gunfight wins.
Absolutely hilarious.
It's actually not a bad strat to bring it in just for that.
No, true, true. Funniest thing about Blackbeard of all time is that he was so busted on release, we actually picked up a guy just because he was so good at playing Blackbeard. Like, he strictly just played Blackbeard and held Windows the entire game. But hey, man, it worked. That was the meta at the time. It's a good thing they changed that, because, wow. 800 HP on a shield was a little kooky, a little crazy.
Bomb located by
We've got Spirits
Oh.
making the initial insertion here.
A rotation back there? There is.
Does
Ooh.
have it. His opponent rotates out from it, so not going to get the lineup, but patience.
I wonder who that is.
That's going to be the Oryx in the defense. Obviously, only defensive operator that can ascend through hatches, so moves himself into that one. Retakes the position.
Looks like the alien from the Alien video game crawling up one of those vents. Whenever you see it through like the
I like how you
side
called
thing.
it the alien from Alien.
Dude, what else? I can't.
You just took out the "the" and it would have made sense.
The alien, I can't remember what the other. It's the one with the space lady on the front of it. She's all scared and startled. You know what I'm talking about.
It's just called Alien.
The Alien video game, John. Okay, 4 rounds for W7M. All right. Not too much happening here for M80. I mean, all things considered, really. They've gotten some control down low. Spirits is waiting to see if they can potentially deliver a frag grenade and pick somebody off on site. Getting some positions around the physical site as well on these windows.
Yaga has that presence established for sure.
Almost shot Spirits there as well.
Yeah, the angle almost didn't work out there. Nade pride for Spirits, but his opponent is on safe ground, I do believe, so not going to be able to make that one work out as well as he would like. Chucks it back up, though. Still may see this end up coming through. And yeah, like I said, off the mark a bit. Not really able to make the impact of that floor the way he would like. Spirits, though, still able to find JV92 as he crosses the threshold, but we will see that trade go right back onto him due to KZ.
JV92 feeling like challenging the verticality there and ends up losing it out. So a little awkward, but so was that. Gomez swings back into the fire hose of KZ as he spams down the angle. It's a 3 versus 3. Make it a 2 versus 2. We're acting quick here. 30 seconds as DS forces himself up the stairwell. Have the Twitch in play, not anymore though, as KZ will take them down. Nice little shots there from DS, but they know he's in mini. Play back in, the nice lineup from Volts. Fantastic vector play. Eviscerates the member as soon as he rotates out.
Very much a gunner's game right now, as all of these rounds are just devolving into open gunfights for the most part for control over the sites. A lot of setup from M80 in the process of getting to that point, but once they pull the trigger, there's no stepping back. There's no resetting to try and re-enter in a different part of the map. They're full committing every single time. And to an extent, that is part of the problem, as W7M is just matching that energy, going for their own aggressive swings from time to time to directly challenge those pushes and make M80 second guess themselves, revealing the strategy prematurely and making it all that much easier for W7M to slightly adjust their setups if needed and get directly in the way of those plays.
Yeah, W7M are beating M80 at their own game right now. They're getting ahead of them in a lot of these assaults, and not only that, they're getting the intangibles, John. They're getting those untradeable frags. A lot of these are via, you know, verticality or what have you, but W7M has been able to either equalize or maintain an advantage all through these means. And it's what's gotten them here so far. 5 rounds in a row as they constantly abuse M80. Like we were talking about before, W7M, they are absolutely fantastic on the defensive end. A 60% win rate. M80, 59% win rate. But we see these two things, they're really not the same world, are they?
Certainly not the case. In terms of moving into the 6th round now, this is really M80's last chance to make an impact. If it's a 6-0 half, I do not see the comeback realistically happening. We could be surprised, don't get me wrong. It still could certainly happen, but on a realistic plane, it's more than likely not going to end up coming to bear should we see W7M clutch things out for a 6th time in a row. Almost a certainty that they'd be able to pick up number 7 at some point in the next 6, unless they have a massive drop-off on their attacking side. Well, I'll wait until that happens, of course. w7m still need to get this one going. M80 still may have a little bit of fight left in them once they get to that defensive side, and hopefully can try to dictate the pacing a little bit further, because it's just not in their repertoire to control it as far as this attacking half is concerned.
M80 wrapping themselves around the site. Always an intelligent play to try and mess with these walls and passport. Obviously no glass here, so we'll be able to see through that smoke, but it'll make it toward the angles, won't work against them either. Oh, if we might have an M80 player that could be in some potential trouble. Might actually be behind that wall out there, past that smoke, so really hope so. Yes, indeed, he is going to be behind that pillar, I do believe, so won't have to worry about that too much. W7M, though, once again, they've been able to delay for so long.
There's like no one in the site right now.
In comes that verticality yet again from W7M. They're holding things down on the custom side. KZ gonna let it up as JV92, he's got that gun so fantastic at range. The DMR able to step up with the EB14. He's just gonna keep holding on to this. He's got the hatch immediately to his right, so he's gonna play very safe here. The big issue, gonna drop down on that angle down low, so if anybody's occupying it, he's in hot water, but as for M80, it looks like the entire squad currently trying to work the top floor.
Good opening pick as they are able to finally isolate out JV92. Don't even give him a chance to clutch in that position either and pick up multiple frags with it. Not even necessarily the 1-for-1. He's just immediately overwhelmed by the angles with which he's being pushed from and is shot immediately by a player from M80 there. The thing is, M80 takes a lot of damage in the process, but they are still carrying this momentum forward. W7M may have spread themselves out finally just a little bit too far with this type of setup, trying to snowball things ever since we saw their extension get ignored back on round 1. M80 has been hyper cautious in clearing these out. And finally, I think it's all coming to a coalescence now on the 6th round of the half. Gomez knocking out Julio, leaves it down to 1. And that's a convincing one from M80 to end the half on. A flawless half as they just systematically hunt down the members of W7M all across the map, one by one. It is, however, just that single round pickup that they will find on the half. W7M still with a massive lead at 5-1. So let's see if they can get the closeout now.
Patience, a virtue for M80 in the very last round of their half. Successful up against W7M, never getting too far ahead of themselves. They're doing a big job of staying on the outskirts of the site and continuously trying to work that. Get those big pickups as W7M tries to rotate back or work some of the angles up top there. Constant discovery mode for them, and it works out extremely well. Now we're going to switch sides, 5-1, as W7M set a precedent for the defensive half. M80 now with a lot to do, 4 rounds just to tie it. You can still get it in regulation, but going to require a lot of heavy lifting.
Certainly the case. We will see a few repicks come in for W7M. Maybe not expecting the upstairs play here. So the Terror drone being swapped in. They're going to keep the Dokumi that it was swapped out for, but not necessarily needing the line because we don't have that collapse that's going to occur from M80's defense. No longer are they going to drop away to the first floor, where potentially W7M may lose sight of those players. The line not being as needed, and they don't even end up going for that initial pick too. It looks like Julio ends up bringing in a different player for this one as well. So still need a little bit of hard breach. So we're going to see the Habano swap back in there in those last moments for Julio instead. Still keeping both of those previous swaps, though, as the Dokumi ends up going on to Volps when everything is locked in. And we do have these guys spawned out on the map. Those are Terror drones already going to work here inside of the first 30 seconds. Knocking at the barbed wire. That'll be the first piece of utility. We'll see plenty more eliminated by it here, so that W7M can set up for a clear at some point in the next 2 minutes.
Silent across border. Nobody boarding the helicopter. Oh, Gomez will. The great helicopter in the sky, John.
It's the helicopter.
No, Gomez is a good guy. I promise. Well, unfortunately for Gomez, we'll be taking the long ride home. Keno's going to be trying to hold the door here. Oh, Vicious, love the work, Keno. You got to be confident with that. They want to play the angles that close, sure. Shotgun. That's the answer right there. Boom, stick to the brain, Herds. Let him think about it on the bench while he's dead. Diaz and the rest of the gang, they're ready for it. W7M, have they finally met their match? Is M80 confident enough on the defense to try and get this done? So far, so good from them. We're about halfway through. Volp still has a logic bomb, though, so it could still get muddy.
A lot of things that could be shaken up here just in the nature of how M80 have set themselves up.
Oh, here we go again.
As well as another member of W7M literally staring each other in the face. No reaction from either player, though. Tries to bring in his teammate, but there's a second element to this. Yaga positioned a bit further back and not been noticed. W7M too forward with their clear, thinking it would have just been the one player with Watch on that position here. KZ saving his teammate's life as well here by picking up the frag against Spirits. Kino, though, to eliminate his only other teammate, now puts it down into a 2v3. This East main push is all they have left in terms of map control and, of course, map presence to try and swing out onto the site with. M80, like we'd been talking about in the previous half, matching the energy of their attackers here, getting directly in their face when they're ready to clear. And it has led to some serious problems on this round for W7M. A second round for M80 certainly in the cards right now, unless this final duo can come up with a big clutch on the remaining 30 seconds, slowly losing health here as every time they cross in a major angle as well, get peppered down to low HP. It is not looking good here for KZ as well as Julio to make this happen.
And Julio, the only one with any utility. Long distance angles, Yaga, a lot of damage to him. Not seeing how this one's gonna work out for him. KZ not able to really get too much. Julio with one, but you can see the great positioning here from M80. If that would have went wrong, the smoke is directly behind him. He just waits for the plant timer and then challenges. So much redundancy there from M80. Very well played in the clutch to clean up that round.
And so as M80 seem to find their center at the tail end of the opening half and now the beginning of the seconds, where will this game go? Does W7M find the immediate counter on another site and retake that control for themselves, still leaving us with a dominant scoreline of at best 7-2 for W7? Or is M80 truly alive yet again? And it's up to W7M to figure out what they're doing wrong to counter it out. Will it take multiple rounds to find that now? Tellers is the site play for M80, so once again, there's going to be heavy emphasis on that extended play upstairs into office. W7M will need to find a better way to clear this out, as that is where they lost their edge on the previous round, losing far too many players attempting to clear things in that department, and did not have enough player count left to bully their way onto the site from the 2v3. Will be very similar play circumstances here for the second round of the half, as M80 will look to defend similar extensions.
10 seconds to go.
Well, W7M recognizing what happened inside of the last round, John. The gloves have come off, not even metaphorically speaking. We've got the Finca in. We're ready for some serious gunfights. Everybody going to, more than likely, play a little bit more feisty this round as well they can. Volps can res them from across the field and also give them some HP back. The only one in the business that can do it. I'm sure Team Rainbow really appreciates Finca, as we did for quite some time when she was in meta. Not so much when the LMG started to take over, but hey, that's for a different time. No frag grenades on Finca anymore either, but the adrenal surges still quite prominent.
Boosting advantage.
Wolf's trying to set his teammate up now. We see the adrenal surges going forward, so if the window peak wants to try and swing into this one, Hurd certainly can, but he's playing a very patient angle from the current looks of things, hoping to get that cross in his favor and not moving an inch in the process of waiting for it. A lot of patience. We'll have to wait and see if it will be rewarded. If you see a kill pop up on the feed from Herds, more than likely the answer is yes, but there's a few other trickier aspects of this hold that we do need to see W7M focusing on, most notably the potential play from Spirits on the inside of security here. A leap into action as he spots out one member of W7M on the rappel, not able to fully take him down though. Forced back further away from that one. We'll give the members of W7M a second chance to take him down a bit later on here, as the first half of the round has not transpired. W7M with a few setups, but have not been able to turn it into anything major as of yet.
And for both of these teams, you can see how much Azami has meant to trying to get through this map. She makes things so complicated on these clears. One of those defenders that we usually see banned, but I still think both of those other defenders really, really important. Even past that, you might just want to allow Azami to make it through so you can play her. She makes Border almost playable. Imagine that. Amazing op. Amazing for M80 so far. Gomez and the rest of the gang, they're ready and willing to go for things here inside of office. W7M trying to back things down now, but Volps with a nice kill. KZ will get taken down as well from Yaga. W7M, they're going to work their way back outside of the building and try and reinsert closer to the site.
M80 continues to step back here inch closer and closer to their actual setup. So he goes in. It's not going to be down these players, though. It's going to be Kino with the double kill on the shotty. Just not giving W7M an inch of vision against him. It's got to be JV92 on the flank to re-equalize things after that double kill is picked up. But once again, what do they have left? Certainly not enough to take the site with, especially from a 2v3 perspective. M80 still has a top-down angle established against these players. Gomez goes for one. The second, potentially in his cards as well here as Hertz tries to make the clutch now. The 1v3 set before him. If he gets this kill, might have an angle to get the plant, but not even being given that opportunity. Time will run out, and M80 win it on that one, as they are back in business now, it seems. 3-5 at the scoreline, only 2 rounds away from the tie point now.
Yeah, no. Two people, I killed 2 people, like, in passport. Like, walking through, like, what the fuck are they doing? Let's go, boys, you know.
Keep it up, keep it up.
Yo, listen, I know these guys, though. They're probably going to try to go for a quick plant. Or not quick, but they're probably going to try to go for a plant eventually. Like, they're going to take top.
You play customs, can you?
Yes, sorry.
All right, so another round coming at us all here. And we have W7M once again looking to steal control from M80. This time going to be over here in supply, as well as ventilation. As we work our way into it. No huge surprises again for our defenders. The attackers, we'll see if they try to modulate anything. A very straightforward lineup so far for W7M. So we've seen this game continue to play out in that fashion too. Just a lot of traditional clear on the extension and follow through into the site. But the problem is W7M, well, they have been able to clear out the extension. Usually not with a advanced player count has been their problem. Well, he's been down by 1 or 2, and usually with a very low amount of time to actually execute, making it an incredibly difficult task to work their way into the site with the limited time they do have.
Well, W7M was looking fairly plain Jane there. Really just the structures of offensive lineup when it comes to Siege, soft destruction, hard destruction, and some droning. But they've changed a lot of things up. They bring in the Yana, the Nomad, as well as the Buck. And that soft destruction pair there with JB92 and the A's, so changed up quite a bit from what we originally seen. As for M80, though, so far so good on their defensive sides, and really been able to replicate what we saw from W7M, what gave M80 so much trouble on their offensive end. Just muddying things, making it quite complex to try and clear the majority of this, rooms and get everything up towards the site. The map just quite complex at the end of the day with the structures that we've seen from both of these squads, especially with the zombie in the mix. Everybody trying to play aggressive as well. You can see even when the armory panel, or rather the armory bomb site was in use from W7M, still having that wall open, trying to play off the balcony. Everybody really trying to get in the face of the opposition when it comes from the defensive side so far. And speaking of which, looks like the shoe might be on the other foot here for the Buck of Volps.
Spirits with the play potential here. Swings out for it, but KZ already thought he wasn't going to catch it this time. Spirits, I thought, had good timing upon it, but the second peek instead will yield better results. Yaga outside, grabbing that train onto KZ, but of course, the one we saw on camera, Gomez, also able to knock out another member of this attack from the depths of Beepers too. Gomez trying to trade it back, but Herds once again pulling a fast one onto Gomez there. Spins the duel back into his own favor instead, and equalizes us down to a 3-player count for both teams.
A little update there for the W7M side of things. Everybody trying to work the top floor, have some opposition still down low. That's going to be the Warden of DS. 2 players positioned upstairs. M80 so far so good. Really looking to see if JV92 and W7M can get things going on this top floor. They still have that clone of the Yana, but not looking to use it. Kino, he's going to get aggressive. They're constantly getting bodied. No respect for Kino on this top floor. He's making his name known here. King Border finally gets shut down. Julio will be the man mincing the meat. 2 versus 2. 30 seconds remain. Nades in hand. Still opportunity to get this plant down. Just have to try and find a home. Lots of counter angles being adopted into M80's play right now here. This could really, really throw a spanner in the works.
W7M not really with an excess of player health to go for these peaks with. Herds will pay the price for that now as Yaga knocks him down. Yaga knows as well this is the end of the round, so doesn't even bother to go for the aggressive swing in it. Sits back, relaxes, waits for his opponent to swing him, and shuts him down nice and easy. M80 now on the forefront of this yet again, 1 round away I do believe, from tying things up, and indeed that is the case, as we are now 5-4. W7M in the lead, but W7M also going to call for a timeout. We're likely going to listen in with M80 here. They're the English-speaking team, but we'll take a listen anyway and see what is going on.
Voltar para fazer play agora no Arsenal. Para mim, a gente faz uma da leste lá, a gente explica no final, como a gente combinou, a gente treinou esse dia, tá ligado? Então, jogar beitando, porque os caras recuperaram um pouco a confiança do game. Então, vamos ver porque eles vão ficar abrindo. Se eles fizerem o bagulho lá de ficar beitando de 12 no Arsenal, faz a tua HE lá de cima, Valcão. Mata esse cara lá, tá ligado? Vamos pegar
não, eu consigo fazer bem e vocês comem ele, tá ligado? Só que cuidado com a fonte.
Não
por
dá,
mim,
não dá pra
a gente...
Mano,
então, por mim, a gente pega...
É só ribanar a liga.
Lobo Arsenal? Eu faria
pega a roça lá, tio.
Eu acho que é melhor. Não quero fazer a massa do personal padrão.
Timeout's going to close down there. And you can see, of course, how streaky this game has been by our round breakdown you're seeing right there. Pretty much a perfect streak so far from both teams, as W7M have gone for 5 straight inside of the opener. And in response, M80 have picked up 4 straight on their own, one tail ending, of course, that first half, with the remaining 3 so far being on the defensive side. How will W7M, when will W7M break the streak here? That's now the big question on the field. Because if it's not on this round, then M80 are looking primed to take the lead away, and potentially this map along with it. Not the result I think a lot of people expected to see, given the fairly one-sided nature with which W7M was taking this matchup back in the first half.
Yeah, I do not know what is up with North America, but something's in the water. We cannot get ourselves out of games. It is absolutely crazy. I mean, unless you're SSG, that hasn't been going too hot. But hopefully that changes up. We'll have to see what happens for them. But as for M80 and a lot of these North American squads, they are keeping neck and neck with each other constantly. We'll have to see if M80 can potentially pull this map back across the finish line and look like W7M's all the way through. Such a dominant defensive half, as John was talking about. Now M80, the showing of their own. Now the smoke and the mute into play here. Pretty traditional lineup for this top floor. The Azami coming through as well, but to be expected. So we've been seeing her time and time again here on Border.
30 seconds into round number 10, and we've got W7M deploying towards repelled positions. Not going to be able to swing their way into things this early on, but certainly setting up at least for a pretty quick boom into this site, as they're going to be playing heavily into those repel positions. We don't have the corresponding Amaru pick or anything that would come in line with that, so it is going to take at least another minute or so, I would imagine, to broil up towards it, but it does look like W7M are potentially priming themselves for a direct office plant. Archives plant, rather, if they can work their way into it. But sit back, and Holmes actually establishes a great crossfire. Not sure if he realizes it, but decks the HP down. That's 2 different players now faltering. Diaz down to a sliver of HP, although that may have been from an unrelated gun. There we go. KZ, never mind, he's going to be able to finish him off. Yoga also heavily injured from a previous fight as well. Now taking down KZ, just taking command here of the main balcony entry as well as security, ripping apart both the players on defense for it. Gomez finally able to strike back a little bit here. Goes for another as well. Drops the other player trying to work their way in from the Archives doorway. JV92 down. It's a battle of titans right now, as an individual from either team is just going off. Gomez claiming the most recent one here against Hertz.
No lifelines yet, John. Can't phone a friend. Have 2 shields for Julio, though. 12 and 7 for KZ. Back to Young Shiping form. Smoke for Julio as well. He's got case control. KZ, lots of noise on his entry point. Has to try and get this initial shot, but he can't make it happen, can't make it work. Shield doesn't go down for Julio. He has to try and get active. Some nice shots. He'll take out Gomez. The 5.56, Thermite's gun, tried and true. A weapon of the greats. Has that OSHA shield still. No smokes, though. Plenty of time. He's going to have to flirt with this. 1 smoke in Kino's pocket. He can use that at his leisure. Smoke through. Might be the swing. Kino! Immediately on the ground. First reaction. Masterful with the sword is Kino. At SMG 11 in his hand like a surgeon. Taking this man out on the other side.
cerebral with how he reads into that play there towards the tail end of the round. Very, very well done. A valiant attempt from Julio. Smart play to try and put the shield down in the ways as opponents did not have any way to take that down. Unfortunately, they did have the Toxic Babe, which sent him off of his plan and pretty much killed the play for the most part there, with Kino especially reading into his rotation towards the breach at small office to shut him down outright. M80 have matched it completely now. 5-1 half from W7M matters not, apparently, as they are unable to win the first of 4 plays here in the second half. We'll see if they can finally change up their fate now that the pressure is truly and really on for them, with a potential lead loss coming up here. Very good possibility we could see M80 still close this out in regulation if W7M is not able to save themselves here. So one final go at it, and we will wait and see if the pause potentially brought out something new for this team that we're only just now going to see bear fruit.
Out to defuse a bomb.
Tie ball game between these two. What an action-packed showcase it has been so far. You and I already today, John, getting a pretty special treat when it came to the Dark Zero matchup against Sonic. Sonic's picking Dark Zero, assuming victory. Dark Zero being like, no, not today. 2-1. An incredible Clubhouse. But now we have quite the border to talk about between these two. And W7M might have finally just found their footing on the offensive side. A more aggressive front. They'll take down Gomez, looking for the kill inside of Customs as well. It's going to force Kino back over into Workshop. Tries to go for the big rotation. KZ, lots of damage onto him. Verticality playing its way back into this. Spirits trying to rotate through, trying to get away. Some nice shots. The Skeleton Key. KZ, so much trust in it. No damage though, no dice. Finally, someone there to assist. He'll get marked up as well. Nice shots from Volps. He's got the 417 to party.
Volps continuing to wait for more opportunities to frag out now. M80 wants to peek into it, but M80, they're smart. They're not going to give up this lead. They've worked so hard for Kino as well. They're finally spotting out the drone. That's been revealing what's been going on this off rotation. Still not going to be able to stop them from eliminating him, though. The intel is good as he never moves to a new position. Diaz as well as Yaga now looking to make up the difference in the 2v4. Diaz cornered, though. Forced down, another drone popping up here. These things like termites. You can't get rid of them, it appears, for M80 here. It's haunting them on this round. It's given away Kino's position. Now it's given away Diaz's position. And by the time he realizes that he's been given up, he is thrust out from that position via some bullets, taking him down. Round number 6 is finally located by W7M just when they were about to lose the lead. But now they've lost their edge. Now they've only got this one singular chance to close it down. Otherwise, overtime is immediately activated.
Bora ver cara e bora matar ele, mano, agora. De novo. Eu vou jogar na brecha, viu? Vou jogar full na brecha. Pode jogar. Tá, eu vou pegar uma dupla também, não importa como for.
Back into things we go after W7M's victory. A little discussion there on the bench. Probably very happy about what just went down there. Looking forward to what they can potentially get done with this Vince Workshop assault. Got the Dokkaebi and the Lion in here. Really liking what we're seeing, especially with the other 3 ops that we have inside of this lineup. Just a very aggressive front. This all back setup makes it to where W7M can be very active. They don't have to lean too much into their drone work. Dokkaebi making that super easy on them. They can drone things out initially and kind of keep things going that way. So they're still going to keep the Doke in the play. That'll go over to KZ's hands, though. Everything else kind of milling about. We're going to have the Sledge rotate its way in as well for some frag grenade.
5 seconds to insertion.
And as we lock things in, those repicks are going to come along with it. Stokes already broke them down. No further changes to be seen on the W7M lineup. M80 in the meanwhile. The Legion coming out for them. Gomez going to try and trip up some of this more direct action, which actually could work very, very well given the foot-forward nature with which W7M have been playing things out so far on the attacking side. So they add a trap operator into the mix is certainly going to slow things down a little bit. And considering we were already playing pretty much the timer on quite a few of these rounds, it could be what potentially pushes said timer over the edge and into a winning M80 position here to tie them up once again. That's 6-6. JV92, the first into the building though, as he goes for some quick clear over by East Main, not being too heavily defended by the M80 roster, so it is his for the taking off rip. But we're going to see M80 still with quite a bit of presence, just more aimed on the lockers, of course, and security side with a few rotates to support each other if necessary. Kino over here by Customs right now, but not a lot of play potential for him, so check in with him a tad later as the rest of W7M also trying to set up to support their teammates' initial conquest now.
One of the slower affairs we've had so far between these two. Nice drone placement here from Volps up in the dome. Pretty common one, but still a goodie at the end of the day. All sludge action there. Spirits attempts to track him through the wall, but simply on the tailcoats of the sludge player. W7M mostly just herds. He's gotten in on the backside. That logic bomb allowing him the space. Notice that entire back area is clear. No new jammers abound to try and help M80 just run over top of those things. That logic bomb will go away. Unlikely holding up walls and other things. Not really something you consider when it comes down to that utility unless you're going to be playing an area right on top of one. As for W7M though, this has been a fairly easy clear so far. No real pressure from M80, but they haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes of this one just yet.
Spirits and the rest of M80.
Reload.
Simply just waiting this one out right now. In such a pivotal play, it's not going to be wise for them to try and make the moves themselves. Volps, though, still navigates around that tricky setup from Gomez sitting on the other side of the soft paneling. And even still, M80, Spirits specifically, trying to force the issue for the trade. Nearly gets it, but now the cross comes in from another player. JV92 up on top, but M80, look at them, spinning those kills right back into their own favor. Beautifully crunched by the defense. Only puts it down to a 2v3. So the job's not done yet, but it certainly has brought it to a much safer point for our defenders here. As the two remaining W7M members are grasping at straws now as to where they can find their next play from. Julio just gonna have to take a risk on it here. Has the lineup, but the spray goes wild. Better chance at closer range there against Diaz to knock him out. But still needs to lock this play, and going for a cross in the process just walks right into Kino. That's the case, down on the ground, and Yoga to grab Volks as well. Overtime is triggered as we go the full distance on map number 1.
2 5-1 halves from the defensive end. Nobody able to put it together.
Wasn't that back or Armory? Armory's solid. I mean, actually, no, Armory was fucking scary last time, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we never lost it, though.
Okay, let's go Armory.
So no Armory then, boys?
I don't think we're going Armory, John.
We are going Armory, so.
Get over your fear. We're going to Armory. I don't care that you're crying.
Good conversation there.
Oh, man. M80. Hard relationship there. Might need, like, therapy or something after this.
Well, let's see if they can clean things up. Make it a little less scary for themselves this time, as they are going to end up in Armory when everything is said and done. W7M, of course, with the line to correspond to that. Nomad specifically to try to block out all this movement. This has been a very movement-heavy defense from both sides with regards to players on either end of that defense have just been swinging for the hills in a lot of these rounds here. So they are to try and limit that potential a bit with the Nomad pickup here.
They've been trying that, to be fair, and the activity has been through the roof from both of these teams. You know, at the end of the day, air jabs, all good, all fun, and it seems like 3 is a lot. It's not. it's really not when you're playing against the right team, John, especially when they have impacts. That's the worst thing in the world. They can just get rid of it at any moment in time, and then you're still dead.
Or soulless.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. There's so...
Then it just shows you where they are.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things. There's so many ways for it to go wrong for you. W7M looking to make sure that doesn't happen for themselves. Just got to try and safeguard things when it comes to these opening moments, but at the same time, need a little bit of a more forward assault. Try and gnarl those teeth a little bit wider next time. M80 constantly able to recoil. Not only that, but do it into a positive light. That's been the biggest problem for W7M on this offensive side. Even when they get a big kill, John, and they're the first one to do it, the swing immediately comes through from M80. And W7M aren't ready for it. That's the big adaptation we need to see here. How do they deal with this fantastic team play, at least in the gunfights here from M80?
W7M, not enough confidence to try and swing the east main angle.
Oh, big frag.
Toxic Babe blocking off their access, but as Stokes mentioned there, very big frag landing directly on top of Gomez. Eliminates him. He's been the clutch player from these early frag positions too, and you can see that echoed in his scoreline there as he tops it out at the moment for M80 at 13-11. The rest of the team, though, more than capable, they should be at least, stepping up to meet the challenge here. Just won't have that aggressive position against W7M, so they are going to take some considerable map control over the next 20 seconds or so. This phone call will more likely be the Siren's ring that's going to occur. Spirits realizes that takes a few steps back, but Now recommitting, could very well be in the winning position too, trying to scare w7m out of committing to this one, and it works in the case of KZ. He'll group up with the rest of his teammates by East Main and put that pressure onto Herds instead, as he now clears down the hallway. A drone would have prompted this, so Spirits is given the warning because of said drone. He's ready on the angle there, counters out Herds and eliminates him. Back into a 4v4 now to start the last minute.
Not a single one of these squads has been able to crack the Azami algorithm inside of CCTV. Constantly so much utility stacked up in there. No answers to be had. M80 fire back. Lots of damage off onto Yogg though from w7m. He's still willing and able. Julio will shut that down. No hope for him any longer. 4-3 here at the dying moments of the round, still right at our fingertips. Nobody trying to get too aggressive. That's the odd thing. Those little interactions, just tiny little skirmishes. Nobody wants to fully send it just yet. And this is mostly on w7m. These offenses, they've been so difficult, and they've finally been able to manage to get some kills onto M80. Trying to respect the utility to the fullest, but now the Nitro sells out, the guns come alive, but the pressure from w7m on the backside. KZ with some big kills, Kino knocks him down, Kino's dead! w7m get it! Their offensive round finally works in their favor. It just takes overtime.
Once again, these rounds coming down, it is pure gun skill at the end of the day here. w7m barely with the positioning necessary to work that round. It's a brute force from one of their players through the archives and into the lockers where they find that final member of the defense hiding out behind beepers and shut them down. M80's turn on the attack yet again, and once more, unfortunately for M80, back in a very familiar position for them, behind by a few rounds here, and this time, there's no easy way to come back into it. It's this round or never, as w7m will win the map on this one.
Need to locate and defuse bombs.
What an incredible affair we've had here so far on Border. It's w7m's pick, but M80 have been looking, or making it look like it's been their own. All these teams neck and neck at the current moment. M80 looking to use the full breadth to take their win on Border. w7m, obviously the exact opposite. Want to shut it out right now. But they do have that little safety cushion for themselves if things do happen to go awry. M80 potentially with a harebrained scheme. And mark the line and the Dokkaebi in here. Maximum potential for trying to lock up these w7m players. And honestly, love this strategy from M80, John. w7m so dominant from this defensive end, just like M80 was, and it was all due to the activity that they were able to produce.
So with w7m back on the forefront, let's see the winning strategy that they will deploy us towards here now. Try and sink their 8th and final round of this map. Needed the full distance pretty much in order to get us there. It's not an expectation they had. The pre-fire from KZ goes a little wild here. Doesn't even end up taking down the drone. As a result, man, he is going 6 different ways in his brain right now. They're trying to figure out what to do. But Spirits ends up thinking just a little bit quicker. He gets the peek out first, knocks him down. Obviously a very heavy cost to his own personal HP, but the job is done of that first entry.
Yeah, KZ's synapses were firing so fast that his body couldn't even...
He was like, do I shoot the drone? Do I throw the kunai down? Do I shoot him? Do I prepare for the shoot him?
I'd love to have a scan of his brain at that moment. Just everything is on. It's just all on.
Just like dial-up noises playing in his brain right there as he makes that play.
Oh, a little mirror window action here from Spirits. Still flirting with it, and I respect that. The fact that he is so low on HP and still willing to try and adopt these angles. Made it work out against KZ though, so can't exactly knock a man for trying.
Still see w7m keep that extension alive and well. M80 have not overreacted to the opening kill they've gotten by trying to steal away a massive amount of control. It has, however, left them in a much more confident position to set up on the outside of the Archives push. Be very bold if we see them go for this play outright here. When you consider the lack of success this type of push generally ends up having, but at the same time, if they have enough open room to feel they can push for it, then by all means, put that pressure down. If you get the plant down on the ground, it's not impossible for the defenders to retake it unless they have a player count with which to bully their way back in. However, at the same time, if you make that attempt and it quite predictably gets nitro-celled out or something else interrupts the plant and you lose the case, you are not getting it back.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
That is the case. Absolutely right.
Look at this Gomez walking in now.
Gomez.
It's open for business. JD92 though getting a bit more of an exchange. Saves it from going completely awry. Thankfully a few more trades transpire from the W7M side also. They keep it under their control. Bring it back to a 2v3. Still working with that -1 deficit, but at least have a chance here.
Keno's gonna work his way in. Nitro cell ready for JB92. He has to trust it, but no, it doesn't make it over. Keno got off the plant though. Another Nitro, but it's wrong as well. Keno could still stick this. Nobody's gonna swing. They have the crosses. Oh, this might be it. M80. They might have forced the round. They have. Keno with the exit frag. Volt, so many fights to win, John. This is impossible. Never seen a more impossible moment in my life. Lay my bank account on it if I had to, but Volps might make me eat my words. Keno, though, might have went to death there for just a moment.
He had so many, like, death crosses to go through there just to get back to the case, let alone win the round there. Got past the first one. A very impressive shot at that range to go all the way to the back of break room and take down a player from the attack, but not enough to take it any further than that, unfortunately. So here we go. OT match point now for both teams. Next round wins it, irregardless of the winner.
At the top of the game, John, we were talking about the fact that both of these rosters are absolutely amazing. They're filled to the brim with talent. Well, look, we finally reached this point. 7-7, only the first map. That's the beauty of this cake. We're only about halfway through. Still plenty of icing, too. Only this round remains, though, for Border. So, hope you guys are still hungry, as Oregon will be next on this 3-course meal.
It is going to be the worst side for W7M, however, here as they jump onto the attacking side of things, as we're obviously in regulation. Both teams are only able to claim a single round from that perspective. So W7M going to have to dig deep and make sure that this one works out. M80 already getting over the hump in the previous round there by winning things out on that Archives push, but how does W7M pull off the same thing? Well, apparently, okay, never mind. I was going to say Blitz is part of the equation, but Volps comes back to his senses there in the final moment, ends up going instead just for the Finka pickup here to boost the entire team instead of himself with that flash shield there.
We're going to have the Dokkaebi working its way back in for W7M, the Finka as well. I think that's a great adaptation for them. Touched on that one earlier. You know, M80 wants to get in those fights. Have the ability to heal yourself, pick up your teammates from across the map. Why not? This Adrenal Surge is so very useful. He's going to have the spear in hand yet again. Frag grenades in play as well for Hertz. His Logic Bomb is probably going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle here for W7M. As for M80, though, it's going to be Diaz here. He's going to be holding down the fort, playing inside of stalls. Logic Bomb out. I do believe they've discovered at least one member here. It does so happen to be Diaz as he rotates in towards Workshop. Might be some hot water now. Smokes in. Julio's going to start planting. Can he stop this? Oh, going to be an impact out. He's trying to find a hidey hole. He's going to start planting on the other side. Gomez doesn't know where it is. That impact won't stop it. Julio, I think he has it. The plan will go through. M80, they're not willing to cross. They're not willing to throw themselves at the side at that moment, but they will immediately after so many kills. Pop up from M80. It's a sea of blue. Gomez to stick it. W7M, they have to stop them. JV92 swings through. He's dead. Volps, he can't cover. M80! How have they done this? It seemed like everything was going the way of W7M. They ask, they receive on the plant. M80, they show up late to the party. But they're the jock, John. They get the girl.
It's a 1-5 comeback from M80 as they bring it all the way from the depths. We're looking at this score share right now. Just look at this, Sam. So streaky as both teams get 5 rounds in a streak back-to-back against each other here. It is 5 in a row picked up by W7M, but somehow they are unable to capture that advantage and capture map number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the first map. Stick with us, though, as map number 2 is coming up right around the corner, and you're not going to want to miss it.
I'm Nicholas Martin, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Back at you, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready for the second map between both M80 and w7m. As our last game of the day here on the Bravo stream continues onward, getting ready to move into our second map of Oregon in just a few moments here. This map has not actually seen a whole lot of play so far at SI. I believe these two teams are a little bit of an exception to that, though, as I believe they both played into it previously, but other than that, Stokes is the stats there on how little we've actually been seeing Oregon get brought out so far at this event.
Yeah, 9 plays so far. It's tied with Skyscraper. It's actually had the second least amount of rounds played on it at 105, but it does have the opportunity to pass up Skyscraper. That's at 115 in this game. So we'll see if M80 and W7M want to have a knockdown drag out like we just saw on Border. Obviously, it's going to be wearing a whole new dress this time, John, as Oregon plays a lot differently than what we see usually on Border.
And as a result of that, you can expect some different play styles to come out from both teams. Going to need to remain a little bit more composed this time. Not going to be able to go for those crazy swings right from the beginning of the round on every single round. For instance, they're going to need to cool it off. Say that maybe for every other round sort of affair. But we'll be finding all of that out as we get ourselves into it. As you can see, W7M from the stats here, no problem controlling the early round. They dominate in the entry category there on that stat pool. But as I get deeper and deeper into it, it's the unexpected moves in the late round that were being thrown out by M80 that would always catch them off guard and leave them in an unfortunate position heading into the later portion of the round, would leave them struggling, oftentimes in the attack, of course, to maintain map control. Defense, we didn't really see them struggling as much as they were controlling those defensive-sided rounds in a much more one-sided fashion. So we're going to have to see if that scoreline remains the same as we get ourselves into it. You folks at home still believe the W7M are going to be controlling things, but we will have to find out if that is indeed true. M80 just gave us a massive comeback, certainly to hurt the egos at a minimum of the W7M roster heading into the second map, so we'll see if they still have that fight left in them, or if M80 are primed to take over now with a quick number map 2, as we do have it being their pick as well. Ying is the first band to go out. Choice from W7M. They're just not wanting to duke out against it, making perfect sense here. Very popular for basement executes and second floor play, so she can oftentimes be an annoyance, one that you just not want to deal with. Flores, very similarly, has access to the interior sites, basement, as well as the kids' bedroom, pretty much all of the important spots on this map, and can knock out those key pieces of utility. And maybe starting out on the attack, of course, but when they get themselves over to that defensive side, they do not want to deal with that interruption, so they'll get rid of it. Now Azami will get banned out as her capability to block out access points gets incredibly powerful, even more so to some extent than Border on this map, so she'll be removed. And then finally, this time we'll kind of flip things around a little bit. Solus is going to be left in. Valkyrie knocked out this time.
Well, and that means we're going to have quite the exciting Oregon on our hands, especially because no Azami, no Valkyrie, but Solacin. The offensive perspective now gets a little murky when it comes to trying to work onto the site. All those drones rotating in more than likely mean a lot of dead intel going the way of the offensive perspective. So M80 now going to be into the map for the very first time. DS will be flashing Blackbeard. You know we have to mention it, but we're not going to touch it until we actually get into the round, because we highly doubt he sticks it. As for M80, this is a map that you and I originally casted them on, and one thing that we notated about their playstyle on Oregon especially was their willingness to sit on angles and hold rotations. A big player being DS, actually, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kept the Blackbeard to play the bus position that we saw for White the last time.
It's actually, no, just as I bring it up, man, every time we start to talk about it, as these things just go by the wayside, as we are going to get that repick instead, I'll go over towards the much more expected Lion for this one. It's no Blackbeard play yet. It's been flashed twice, though, so maybe third time's the charm if we get a bit deeper into the series as well. Yaga as well adding the Thatcher into this one just to make things a little bit easier to clear out some of these utility set pieces, prevent them from popping out into the open against them. We'll see if that all ends up being true. Mainly going to be used to counter out some of these mute jammers and give the team the access they need to deploy down into the basement, of course. But spawns are in, and then, of course, we have the extension deployed by W7M as well. Quite a bit of second floor presence currently sitting in the way of M80s. They will have to deal with this first before moving forward. Not a huge amount of utility supporting this from what I can see, so these will probably be pretty loose positions that W7M, I imagine, are going to give up relatively quickly, but let's actually take a look and find out for ourselves as M80 is beginning that push now.
Dead silent for the first 45. Do have a roam game here from W7M. Hasn't been discovered yet, though. Forwarding back and forth. Yaga, obviously, an inkling did hear those shots up top, so unless there's at least one body. Herd's able to, obviously, mess about with this drone game. Trying to hunt that down. able to pick up that. He's using the suppressor on the P90 as well. Haven't been seeing that one too much on that weapon. Gomez almost with a nice shot there, but a little unfortunate. Might actually know that he's working his way down Freezer now because of that. He's a player known inside of Z. And so far, so good for W7M. M80 have gotten some map position, but this is looking like something past that W7M could have potentially dealt with, but Gomez on top of it, and you see why. The drone was right there on stage. They pinged him out.
Gomez a little
Very well fought from them.
As he pops right out into Hurt's face to be able to eliminate him. The rest of W7M, though, looks like they haven't made a safe return back into the depths of the basement here, waiting for the M80 XQ to come through now and beginning to pop off a few of those delay pieces too. He did the smoke, so Volps can keep those Toxic Babes primed and in his pocket, ready to use out against the play. But at the same time, M80 seems to be making a lot of progress very quickly here. So W7M want to be more than ready for the challenge to be thrown at them. Nitro is out, unfortunately, way too telegraphed. M80 reads that from a mile away, so they will back up the stairs here. Just a momentary interruption to their clear. It has put them off the scent of actually swinging down this back stairwell, however. So it has delayed things even further than that, as it looks like M80 try to split themselves up, try to go for a 2-3 push into both the back stairs as well as pushing into construction here. But they haven't even begun to work construction yet, only just now popping open the barricade. So this is going to take some time to set up. Thankfully, Spirits is having success in the back stairs push, so that will prompt hopefully a little bit more momentum to come through on the construction play too. Julio, of course, getting in the way of that. An ace Nitro, but he's also sniped out just before he goes down to it. Kino, regardlessly, though, ends up knocking out Gomez due to the explosion of the Goyo canisters here. Volps trying to hold his own, kept himself alive somehow through that, and got the down off onto Diaz. What a roll of the dice that comes out impressively for him. W7M able to hold on off the backs of that one and claim round number 1.
Some Volps magic in elbow. Fully stunned, still downs a man at range, John, with the shotgun. I've said it before in this tournament, but I'll say it again. Pojo Man once said the M590 runs on dreams, runs on hope. You see exactly why. Sometimes you don't even have to see, and it'll still kill somebody. Even that other shot that came in via Boiler was one that almost felt like it was just out of reach for the shotty. Still able to down him all the way on that door. The pellets matching up perfectly. All that trust in the shotty ends up going the way of W7M for the round because of it. M80 now, though, looking to recoil, and how will they do so? They were flashing the glass a bit there for just a moment. That's a ban that we saw them take on Border, but not going to end up working it in. The Zero, the big piece to this that we haven't been seeing too often.
All of the fun operators, unfortunately, getting repicked out on this round. We are going to be left with a Zero, which will be fun to see how he gets used. Not the most common pick for this map specifically, but I can see exactly where he is potentially going to work into M80's lineup. So take a closer look at that now as they begin to work their way forward. Plenty of spots for these Argus cameras to be snuck in, either from down below or potentially as they take that initial control towards the master bedroom. So we'll see how exactly he's going to try to deploy all 4 of those once the team works their way in. A bit of resistance, of course, waiting over by Small Tower, as one would generally expect. It's the smoke, too. All right, excuse me, never mind, reading that wrong, just a little far away from me. It's the alibi. As Volps does get some intel onto the player outside, I believe, as he pre-fires into one of those clones through the window. It's not actionable, though. Volps does not have, oh, now he does, the angle to take down his opponent, but his opponent, Yaga, in this case, also with the read against Volps. Both of them, both go down low. It's going to leave them both at around 50 HP, where they just kind of respectfully back away from each other now and move on into the next phase of the round.
It's been a very controlled round so far from M80. When the breaching charges will deal a little damage to Spirits, a lot of damage going on to Gomez, though. Looks like we had some potential impacts fly out of that window, I do believe. Maybe a Nitro cell. Either way, he is going to be able to maintain his life, but definitely injured here. Minute 45 now remain for M80, but doing a pretty solid job of working this out. Trying to break up all of these from Classroom is Volps, and he's going to get away with it. M80 have not been able to work their way into the actual master closet. It's been so well struck from W7M.
JV now making a return to the upstairs portion of the map. Tucks himself away in the corner next to big window. M80 still with plenty of time to wait this out a little bit further too, and they're unfortunately going to need it. So once more, still working on popping open. Yeah, I think he's forced to unpeak. There is some shots came back against him, so Let's try and pop it again. It's going to be very awkward here as he tries to sneak off these few extra X-Kairos just to give them the appropriate room needed to hop through the breach that had already been created. The job is done now. Kino also scoring a kill, but at the cost of one of his own players as they trade blows down to a 4v4 here. Just under now, a minute to play out. Nade chucked in, KZ safe from that though. As he backs away from it, goes for a re-peek, spots the push coming in for the Habana, but can't align himself against it. Yaga able to push forward, but he can only claim one also. As JV92 comes forward yet again with the trade here. Spirits still trying to look for a winning angle from the back of Attic's side, but just can't stabilize it. And Diaz's own push in through that breach fails pretty quickly as well. Convincing round 2. Yet again, we have W7M on the warpath here from the defensive side.
Yeah, their fortifications are stalwart. Every single angle M80 adopts, shut down. Even if they do get a kill, W7M able to pull it back along the lines very quickly. We'll see if they can continue on that. Love the positionings that they were playing throughout the map, especially what we saw inside the classroom. You know, that's an oldie but a goodie, something that you have to respect on the offensive side. And honestly, it's been so played out in much later years, or rather early years, right? That a lot of teams just stopped abusing that altogether because people were so used to players playing around that area. So smart of W7M to use that. Force M80 to clear it out, because that's really what a play like that is. It's just forcing the other team to respect what you're doing. And if they don't, then they might end up losing the round because of it. Ended up delaying out things, at least for the wall breach, for quite some time, didn't it, John?
Certainly did, and unfortunately made the push just way too untenable by the time M80 had the clearance they needed to go forward. Really just 2 players left alive at that phase of the round, with no capability to extend it further than that. So they're going to try and solve this problem a bit directly this time by bringing not only the Montaigne in, but the Osa as well. So we'll see what the double shield composition potentially can bring out here for M80. Obviously, only one of them going to be limited because of the shield. Diaz can still play very much so like a normal operator, except when he's bringing out that utility, but we'll have some limitations for the team when they are trying to make those plays together. So let's see if this type of lineup can work. You're potentially going to have 2 out of 5 of your roster otherwise distracted in the midst of the execute, only leaving 3, gunners, so to speak, in the fight. Now only 2, as Gomez, the first to fall here at the hands of JV92 yet again.
Loading mag!
Punishing plays so far from W7M. M80. Not a single leg to stand on. Gonna be able to at least get the shield play in here. They've got DS on the Osa as well as Spirits manning the door for Monty. The case in possession of Kino. No breach yet towards the physical site, so no real means to get in and try and get this case down either. Utility game looking very solid for W7M. The scariest thing, Volps right now, 3 smokes. 2 of those nitro cells that can end up throwing a spanner into the works, especially for a plant that involves Spirits. A lot of processing still left to do for M80. Seriously need a kill to try and get this to go off without a hitch. But you can see W7M constantly applying pressure, especially from the side here. JB92 rather, even throwing some feints over towards the front door.
Attempt to whack the player as he thought was going to swing there. Spirits forced back because of that. Also gets rid of the mirror barricade too. Just the intended goal, that one. As he swings around it though, tries to take the fight, but no, Nitro so quickly dashes those plans. Hurt. Let's actually get away with one here on the swing, even though obviously he's aiming at Spirits, who is able to assist in putting some damage back onto Hertz there before he can get away with the second pickup. Thankfully, it's more of his teammates still able to find that one, so we're down to Spirits and Yaga now. Up against 3 still up from the W7M roster. This is enough confidence now where JV92 can kind of wrap away from his white position. Start to look towards the top downs. Volps, though, with a bit of a dirty one. As he tries to go out for a little bit more intel, loses a good 2/3 of his HP. Julio, though, to quickly assist in stabilizing the situation, leaving a very lonely Montaigne on the field, who will also get dealt with in very quick fashion. The 3-0 run, as the defensive side is aces for both teams right now here. No problem picking up rounds from that side, but it's when we switch sides that the problems will start to arise with either team's attack. M80 needs the timeout on this round, given it's a 3-0 run now. So let's take a moment and listen in.
But if they're roaming, go to the master door. Let's clear master, okay?
Yeah.
Let's be on top. Bro, it's fine. It's the Oregon attack. Let's do these 3 rounds and win this fucking game, okay? Yeah, it's fine, bro. Don't stall, don't stall. Hit the comms a little bit, bro. You guys are too slow. Hit up a little bit, bro. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Bro.
So we gotta do the top take if they go down again.
They need 2 rounds, but that's it.
Bro, one was one kids. And I think you're winning the we know what to do this round. Okay?
Yep, let's go, boys.
Gomez. One kids enter the small tower on the top, you know? Let's work them.
And so we'll come out of that pause back into round number 4 here, where W7M look to continue their success so far on this defensive side. M80 has not had the best record here of breaching past the setup to get themselves into these sites. Thankfully, they've seen the full breadth of the setups now from W7M. They've made the full rotation all the way around. For them being successes as well, there is a very obvious path to success for M80 to win these out on the retry. Let's see if they can gain it. So far, keeping the Montaigne in check to start out this rerun as they go back down into the basement. Did not have him for the play on the last occurrence. So we'll see if the extra support on the push is going to be enough. More than anything to kind of stabilize the chaos once things start out here. W7M had absolutely zero fear with their capability to swing out and try to take challenges against M80 when they were pushing into the basement the last time. Having the Montaigne will hopefully force a little bit more respect out from W7M. But conversely, we had him on the last round and it didn't really seem to slow things down. But keep in mind that W7M were playing into a site where they had more capability to play things out, just positionally speaking as well. Not going to have that in like a 30-second situation here where they're all cramped in the basement.
Yeah, it could definitely be a problem. Looked like W7M was pretty solid in dealing with Monty, giving him the proper respect, playing around him, picking off the players, trying to support him instead. Don't want to try and deal with Monty head on, unless you do get that very solid disjointed one-on-one. You got the proper utility in order to do it. For W7M, they're going to start things off strong on the mid floor. Show a little face. KZ's going to back off after he gets rid of the Gemini clone. M80 beginning their clear on the small side of things, but to be expected, they have the Hibana in as well to try and deal with these hatches. Diaz more than likely will try and strike true when it comes to the Twitch drones, unlike that Nitro cell, which doesn't even go off, shot cleanly out of the air by an M80 member.
Volp's patiently waiting with the shotgun in hand here. If he gets that challenge, I think he's on freezer stairs at the moment, so see if he gets it from the other end. KZ actually double stacking this right now. 2 players primed at freezer, ready to take down anyone peeking except him, as he's got a big shield, so not going to make that one work there. Losing the hatch as well, so they don't want to leave both these players off on an island, rotationally speaking. So they peel them back, put them in a closer position to the site. Spirit's very happy he's brought the Montaigne now, spotting that mirror window at the bottom of the stairs, as thankfully he can walk right up to that one and have very few consequences to that walk up. It's all on M80 now, setting themselves up on a secondary angle to make this push work, as that Montaigne should be able to counter the freezer play, currently positioned from JV92.
It's going to be hard fought for him here, though. Trying to make sure he can't get away with too much. If he goes for that swing on the mirror window, probably going to try and swing in via the freezer door. It's going to be a regular drone in here, not a Twitch drone, so won't be able to shock that out. No Twitch drones actually in DS's pocket, so don't know if those were destroyed or what have you, but unfortunate circumstance if that is what is currently befuddling them.
Spirit's trying so hard to control the hipfire spray on the pistol right there. You can see him with the dot trying to aim it in, just go one shot at a time, let the full recoil reset come in. It just does not pan out for him. JV92, a big push as well. Stops the initial play on the inside of Laundry for being successful. The Montaigne heavily injured after he tries to swing forward from his freezer position. And he just can't find a winner, but there we go. Yaga finally changed up the fate, establishing forward momentum for the team. Diaz now lost though, and it's just gonna be a sea of orange in the kill feed. W7M cannot be interrupted, it seems, as they are 2 for 2 on basement holds and 4 for 4 on basement play overall here.
That Laundry attack, at least from that perspective, right, trying to come in via freezer as well as main stairs into Laundry, is so difficult to try and get to go off, John. But the biggest issue even past that is that they had literally no teeth in that setup. Not a single person could bite down and get a kill. Only thing going the way of M80 there is the kill that Yaga got. And that was simply just a coin fight gun flip that W7M had decided to take, and he won it. So for M80, really no other play in the cards for them there. No, other additive towards like the back end, towards big tower or construction. Need an extra layer to try and get some kills, get some pressure on the back end players of W7M. They've looked so solid so long, or for so far rather, here on Oregon. And I mean, why not? Usually Brazil very solid when it comes to this map, and W7M obviously not a slouch.
Big question for w7m, of course, is can they keep this pace? We obviously saw them struggling just as much as M80 was on the attacking side back on map number 1. Will the same exact thing transpire here, or does M80 have a real matchup being thrown their way here in the fact that just w7m are ready for the outright shutdown on Oregon? Obviously, M80 just barely able to steal away w7m's own map pick on our first play. It'd be a real shame if we see that map go to the full distance to decide it. And then all of a sudden, w7m able to just slap M80 into their place on their own map pick with a potential 6-0 half, or even worse, a 7-0 game if the worst should happen. But hard to see trades to start out the 5th round here. Blows go both ways to the loss of JV92. An unfamiliar situation for him, as you'll notice, that was his very first death of the game. He has been 6-0 aside from that, most of those being opening kills, so massive impact has been shown from him on the previous 4 rounds. That's going to be sorely missed this time.
Well, breaching charges down for Spirits. He will now open the floodgates into Attic. As for the rest of M80, they're trying to build things up over on the far side and influence the position of Herds. One that we've seen a couple of teams really enjoy playing this breach open with the shotgun play. Seen a lot of solid positioning from Kino and positions along those lines as well. This time not going to be exactly what w7m wants though, and they're gonna reinforce that and apply a late mirror window towards Attic. Starting to feel how M80's setup is going. Always love the late additions. This is something that we saw for a very long time inside the utility meta. They had Goyo shields and everything in between. Everybody would always rotate those Goyo shields, wouldn't they, John? Make sure they're on the proper side of the site setup. That way the offense has to deal with the full front of your defensive setup.
Kino trying to rotate over. Heard Sam in the background there. Spirits trying to establish some camera positions, but afterwards is immediately decked by Volps. Not the play they wanted to have pan out here, as now they've lost their edge yet again. Volp's about to lose his position in a second, though, if he's not cautious. Paying close attention to those ex-Kairos to see if a push will come through. Just a flash right now. Try and position a few more of those on the window. Only the 2 going down previously. Going to need another one to make sure that the explosion actually goes off. Speaking of which, an explosion will be denied. And no, that is not going to be the ex-Kairos that kills Volps right there. It is Kino on the angle, taking him down and putting us back into a 3v3. Herds ready for the next challenge, and they very well just ended up taking a player with him. Where's this nade at? It was uncooked, so he had basically infinite time to play into it here. Thankfully, M80 able to save their now down teammate in Kino, leaving it just on KZ, but he's not done with the fight either. All-time push there. They very well ended the round, but instead, it's going to go back into the hands of M80, who finally claimed one after 4 in a row from their opponents.
Bro, I'm just dying in some ridiculous fucking way every time.
Just wait till you get on defense.
We're just gonna go, dude. We're just gonna fucking go, dude. Young, grow some fucking balls, bro.
Well, Kino with the definitive statement there. Yeah, I could just attack him. That's basically what he's saying. I'll translate it for you.
Just go.
Be confident, you know?
Hit up Nike's marketing department. It's like,
just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, is what Kino says. My boss would be very mad at me if I said what Kino said. But sometimes you're just a little envious of the pro players, right? Just a tiny bit. But they're having fun, man. That's what competition's all about. As for M80, they're looking to bring it back on their offensive side. Finally getting a positive boon. Big round there for round 5, round 6 on the docket. And they're sending it to Kitchen and Cafe, a site that, in my personal opinion, absolutely sucks when it comes to Oregon. And let's see how this went, actually. Kitchen Dining, currently 78% defensive win rate, but only 9 rounds played. As for Meeting Hall and Kitchen, 16 rounds played, and 38% defensive win rate. So you see why teams are starting to trend this way, and that's mostly due to the fact that every team for a very long time when it came to site rotation seriously favored playing Meeting Hall and Kitchen over this version of it. So not nearly as many teams routinely practicing trying to assault this site.
So that's the part of the hope, I believe, from w7m is to throw M80 off a little bit. Already prompted a pretty major redraft of their operator lineup, with now the Maru coming into this one. JB92, though, ready for the shutdown against that skeleton key. Knew the breach was coming and lined himself up for the counter. Down goes Spirits, although no confirmation just yet. He does not have the capability to push the window to get the finisher. Just going to pre-fire into it in hopes that someone would have come along to res Spirits by now. So far has not happened. Spirits has had plenty of time to crawl away from the window, so he's actually probably going to get brought back up, even though JV92 does that fantastic job of slapping him down initially.
Be pretty surprised if they let Spirits just bleed out over here. Looks like they're going to move DS around. I do believe they're getting him right now. Yep. He's getting in position to apply some pressure, and there we go. Spirits back up. Now M80 can try and figure out their assault once again. That soaked up so much time, though. Already halfway through now, just to get Spirits downed and back up. Nitro Cell's out for w7m, not going to do anything to the players upstairs. M80 waiting for w7m's next move.
Well, at the moment, M80 focus a little more on establishing top downs over anything else. This could be what allows them into the site. If I look at a few of these for free. Herds, though, ready to spray back against that. He's got to be careful, as he is being exposed quite quickly. JV92 still in the action here as he fires back with one volley of his own to get revenge for the death of his teammate now. Still going to leave W7M in the winning position as a result of that one, but M80 more than prepared, as you can see. EOS establishing the counter to this freezer rotate. More than prepared for potentially some of the shenanigans to be thrown at them by the defense here. Kino, strike next. They'll find a Vulpes waiting at the bottom of the kid's hatch. Drop in to take site control away as well. W7M, though, to keep the numbers still down and even. And JV92 just gets away with a dash-up light stairs. Counters things down. Diaz and Kino both have to unfocus from the plant phase for a moment as they have a player attempting to push their way out. KZ with the big focus on him right now. He'll end up going down, yes, but Kino gets dropped because of JV92's position up on top. 18 seconds to resume the plant, and Diaz has to go for it. He's missed his chance to win it out on the hatch play outright. JV92 is too smart to get baited in by that. Instead, Diaz will go for the corner plant. JV92 hears it. Crawls back out. The stick is in, but he jumps off. Tries to go for the kill, but JV92 cannot be beaten. It's another 5-1.5 from our defenders as W7M's forge their way ahead.
No secrets up the sleeve of W7M there. No money in the pockets either, but plenty of rounds. 5-1 on that half. Yet again for W7M. Looks like you cannot kill their will. Almost a practically perfect half yet again after what we witnessed there on border. Now M80 looking to try and fix some things up. I think W7M did a fantastic job of once again getting ahead of M80, giving them a lot of problems inside of the early round, not really allowing them to get set up. And, you know, as well as even past that, when it came to the basement setups, doing a fantastic job of playing patiently, but keeping W7M at bay, not giving them everything that they wanted, you know, trying to apply the pressure in a bunch of different ways, but not really getting it done was M80, all due to these, you know, very strong positioning from W7M on a lot of their defensive rounds. So we'll see how they can get going on offense. Looks like they want to adopt the Monty into their play. Also, Maverick will come into fruition as well.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse.
So as the hop out is just thrusted out by Yaga here. Trying to go a little bit wild as soon as we get the spawns in from W7M. Nob's not really going to be able to grapple much with that, and they read into his rotation back to Classroom. He tries to fire back in with a bit of spray on his own, but misses it. Now down to a sliver of HP from his very aggressive positioning in the early round here. Gomez meeting the same fate. This time, though, he hits a few shots back, bringing KZ down to a very low amount of HP, while he himself only loses about 1/3.
Well, Yaga and KZ, same boat here. But now you can say that about a lot of these members. Fighting back and forth, everyone at each other's necks. No kills to come through, though. Trying to keep that aggro play style fluid for W7M. M80 matching that energy so far. Assisting them out and more than likely help them going into some of these later rounds as these smoke nades can have quite a large effect. But Kino now quite low on that stock as well. No real way for him to supply either. So he's stuck with one going further into the round. And that's two big uses very early here as well. No real damage onto Vulpes either. So W7M will be very happy with that.
Yaga with the leans here, trying to see if anything will present itself, but not to be found, especially at his HP here. You have to be very tepid with his peeks out into the open here. So just trying to see if he can get lucky. Nothing to be forged. Gomez just denying the play there from the Montaigne as Volps tries to work his way forward. Not going to happen on this round, unfortunately. So first kill finally claimed. Will there be revenge upon that? No, apparently not. Gomez just going off right now, challenging everyone that wants to come at him. And so far winning both of those challenges too, both the Montaigne and now Hurts on the cross goes down. JB92 to push to the inside. He is also countered out pretty much instantaneously. M80 more than ready for the challenge on this defense and immediately putting their foot down with the second round to start the second half.
Well, as we know from Border, John, don't call it a comeback. M80's ready for this. They're built for the mileage.
Bro, most defender-sided map in the entire game.
Oh, they're gonna call the bug, bro. They're gonna call the bug. I didn't do it. Just watch the fucking bug.
Back.
I mean, he's right, you know, 61% defensive win rate.
True. We are in a tech timeout, by the way, folks, so we'll get clarification on what's going on in just a moment, assuming like a headset bug or something like that, so we'll figure that out in a moment. But either way, W7M still in kind of the leading position right now, but as we mentioned, and as the players over on M80's side were alluding to, this is once again a very defensive-sided map, so they are not worried at all about the 1-5 score. I mean, why should be? They just pulled off a 1-5 comeback. So doing it once again is not completely out of the cards here. Although certainly still has set up W7M to have the freedom to make a heck of a lot of mistakes, just like they had back on Border.
So a little update on our tech timeout here. It looks like we're having a little inspection of play. Sounds like DS went to knife the shield, John, and potentially might have one-man punched him directly through said shield.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, we didn't see it on camera, so I didn't want to assume anything. But
yeah, might have straight up anime battled him right there. Just one tap and blew him right through the wall behind him. So we'll see what the admin want to do. Once we have that word, we will let all of you at home know. So, but past that, it has been quite an equal affair from both of these teams, but it has been a defensive showcasing for the ages.
It certainly has, as I would bet like 90+% of round wins so far have been entirely defensive-sided for this series. Neither team just able to make their attacks work, and it's a myriad of issues causing those losses too. Sometimes it's just losing too many players in the early rounds, so they can't realistically win like a basement attack with a 3v5. But more often than not, it's just raw chaos inside of those final executes. And as we just saw there, W7M just really not having a winning strategy to try and breach past any part of M80's setup at the end of the day. And that has oftentimes been a bigger one for W7M, as can be referenced to when we look at their entry stats. No problems at all there. JB92, I think him single-handedly is shutting it down in the early round against M80, but the problem is really when they get to that site, that's when the more flashy players from M80 come out and they are not ready for those aggressive swings and oftentimes are getting shut down by it.
No, definitely not. And it's been really interesting because we go from Border, a map that sits as one of our lowest defensive win rate maps in the entire pool at the current moment at 51%. It's tied up with a couple in the likes of Bank, and I think there's one more. Yes, Villa. Villa only having 6th place this tournament as well, which is pretty interesting. Usually one of our most played maps, but everyone putting that one on the back burner. But yeah, we move on over to Oregon, which is a 61% defensive win rate map, the most defender-sided map that we have in the pool at the moment. So it's just pretty interesting, the fact that we have this exact same playstyle following all the way through. You'd expect Border to be a lot more offensive favored than this being more of the realm where we'd be for the defensive side. But no, both of them straight through defensive wins time and time again for both of these teams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like this is going to take a little bit longer than normal to try and sort out. I think we probably got to pull the demo and take a look at it on this one. So stick with us. We're going to go to a quick break. We're actually going to catch up with the A stream as well while we are waiting. As soon as we have a result and a decision, we'll be right back with the resumation of this game.
I see another one. The first slow approach so far, of course, you gotta go through the motions of roam clearing and respecting your opponents. Koi gonna roam clear from the east over towards the west, open up this office stopper wall and start making the entry. DC already fallen off this area of the map. They got their stronghold on Drum and Top Dragon, and that's what the first pain point is going to be for Koi to break apart.
Reason why you see bandit bans on some of these maps versus others would be the amount of ways that a bandit can sit totally sheltered and successfully trick, right? There are certain walls and there are certain floors under those walls where you can't really do that much. If a bandit's there, you're kind of doomed. Just as we saw Kanto be a bit doomed. Hops into Terrace, contests against Gavin on drum.
Oh.
Deepak gets it back.
It's a cheeky angle on the rappel.
But still, there was a small advantage. I'm going to put that one down as a trade.
Yeah, good point. Once again, no one gains much from this. It's back and forth. It's been 10 seconds, give or take. No clear advantage. Pampas still has his shield position top Dragon, but Drum has now been surrendered by Dark Zeros as Samuel was needed to hold that position aggressively. So Koi trading that 1-for-1 in a great way.
Oh, and a run out from Canadian nets a kill onto Deepak. That was the rappel that you saw. Call it a cheeky angle. Hard to contend against somebody who hops out of that kitchen window. Toxic Canister goes out. Skies has used all of them with a minute to go. Look at this angle, by the way. Hoo boy. Skies is totally concealed behind that Kiba barrier.
Yeah, he's got the shotgun. Injara engaged with the crossfire as well. He can sit nice and tight here with no Toxic Babes, just a walking gun.
Leon Gids walks in, takes it in JR. Skies follows to Spoit. Dozen kills for Spoit so far in this contest. Or rather, 20 kills for Spoit so far in this contest. Approaching 24. DZ trail. And now it's Panbazoo taking a bunch of damage. And being finished off by none other than Spoit. Do you believe in Spoit's superiority? Because I'm starting to, Nick. Canadian far back at backstairs. No real information, but that P90 has a lot of bullets in the mag. Quick reload, diffuser going down. Leon Gids successful. But it's Spoit. 3 kills. Business as usual.
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
Taking Sky or letting us play it.
I mean, let's just see if the replay shows it. Spoit literally just walks in. It doesn't show it, I don't think. But yeah, Sky's there with the shotgun, SMG-11 in hand, raiding ready. And Spoit just walks in, and it looks so easy. And it's just like that late half, the last 6 rounds or so of Theme Park, where Spoit walks in somewhere against all the odds, and he just comes and wins out 1, 2, 3 kills back to back. And I mean, when they're operating like this, that's when they're at their strongest, when they can just find openings effortlessly. Normally it's Cryon and Spoit working together on one side of the map, while you have Leon Gids, Deepak, and Kento working the opposite side. So they have these 2 squads working at the same time. They did it last round. One squad they roam cleared west over, the other one they open up that geisha wall. So it's stats of Thermite doing one job, and injuries doing the other. And it means that they buy so much time on the clock because they're so effective. If you've heard their voice comms on YouTube on their channel that Leon Gids also uploads on Twitter sometimes, you will hear that they have this way of communicating at the same time because no one's yelling. It's very quiet. Leon will say, hey, Kento, go over here, do this. And then Cryon will go, hey, Spoit, get ready. And they've just been working on that for the last 6 or so months, if not longer, and really perfected that craft. On a map like Skyscraper,
all right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a result.
Drum roll, please.
Have pulled the demo, taken a look, and nothing happened.
Hey.
So everything's sticking. We're going right back into the game.
We kept it, North America. We kept around. Woo!
Like I said, it wasn't caught on camera. Demos, as usual, should be available after a few days.
I mean, we are the U.S.
Assuming. So yeah, if any of you guys want to contest that decision and think it went the other way, feel free to check the demo for yourself. But as far as our admins are concerned, they didn't see anything. So we're going back into it.
John, we're American. We're good at hiding these things. All right. Fantastic, one would say. W7M, though. Gonna be looking to pick up some more rounds here. Still well within the right to take this. They had a fantastic defensive side, and not only that, but had a real opportunity. Real shake of the stick there to try and get that last round over on M80. We'll see if this round has anything else to say about that. M80 is going to ascend the floors and try and work this from the top floor. Not going to be for the bomb site, though, as that will be on the mid-level. They're going to be going back to at least one site, I do believe, on this entire map. Yes, indeed, meeting hall and kitchen. 38% defensive win rate.
Let's see if this is going to yield results. Obviously, we lost our stats because of that reset there and us having to check the demo. So just ignore the fact that everybody's on 0-0-0 count that came with the territory of contesting that last play. All that's important right now is JV92 is basically cleaning up shop in the early rounds. So he's got a pretty positive KD last time I checked there. The rest of the team performing up to snuff as well. KZ earlier on, for instance, in the initial series of the day, had quite the performance himself. Was kind of waiting to see when we'd have a big game out of him, as he was the player being talked about quite a bit last time these guys were on LAN. It's going to be no different, I think, for this one, as he's finally bringing that championship potential, at least, level performance to the table. We'll see, though, if it's enough to finally close down things in the second half, or if Kino is going to be correct about that most defender-sided map in the game statement we had before we went to break here. Can they do it twice, as they now attempt their second 1-5 comeback just in this series?
W7M will work a cheeky setup for game's window. Doesn't really garner them all that much control, though. Can still see JV92 use that to the fullest extent if he wants to get on the rappel for the angle as well, but it'll be Hurts to strike first as W7M is attempting to deal with Master. Push in here from KZ, playing back and forth, and the Master rotates. Swings in, tags up Gomez, and M80 recoiling now. So try and move back across the top floor. Spirit's going to apply Wamaidas, trying to help with the throwables that'll more than likely descend in upon his location momentarily. Volps has shifted his way up white stairs here too. Gomez knows that, though, after the Banshee will go down. Some serious shots onto Volps, and he's still trying to flirt with it. It's going to be JV92 again, though. He's been so strong this entire game. And yet again, W7M with some big plays, as they'll be taking down a whole plethora of M80 members.
Down to 2 now for our defense. Things looking solid for W7M to get that 6th round a little bit earlier than they were able to find it back on map number 1, giving them the credit they need to hopefully swing out the rest of this map and get us to a 1-1 scoreline. But do not count the M80 roster out just yet. Don't necessarily count Diaz out of this specific situation. He's already found one of the cross into security. Gonna look to see if he can deny more. His position is revealed, but the pre-fire off on a JV92 scores him a 2nd kill now. This is palatable when you consider that the planter is basically one-shottable. No idea where Julia's gonna come from. The Nitro out. Does it sing? Yes, it grabs the planter. K still down on the ground, though, and he's missed the rotation from Julio. He's gone all the way upstairs. Diaz doesn't seem to mind it too much. Those sticks on the case, but he hears the play from one top. And Diaz, oh my God! The 1v4 clutch out from him with unlimited time remaining as well. That counter defuse is more than coming in. What a play! As I thought for sure this was W7M's round. Apparently not. Never count the one man out.
A 1v4 for DS Lucas. W7M feeling like, oh, this will be fairly straightforward. Take a couple of gunfights here, maybe get a case down. It'll be easy. They didn't put any respect on this man's name, John. DS Lucas, the 3rd highest rated player here at this tournament. The only 2 higher, Shaiko and Newers. He's in good company for a top 3. Diaz is a 1.24 rating so far. That's not even considering this series. Amazing from him, keeping M80's hopes alive. But not only that, John, he pulled off such an incredible feat. He made it to where W7M, they're not even on map point anymore. That was their opportunity to make it to where they had to force overtime. M80 still can take this in regulation.
It's brought the scoreline that much closer, and as Stokes said, dashed the chances of W7M, has saved an extra opportunity for his team as well. Massive clutch, and to be honest with you, a massive blunder from W7M and how they were managing the 4v1. To be fair, they just gave him 4 detached 1v1s at the end of the day.
John, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And now M80, they're fully feeling themselves. I would be too. Disrespect W7M after something like that, all right? I mean, come on. One of the best Brazilian squads that we've ever had in Rainbow Six, honestly. Just haven't really had the trophies to their name to hoist and be like, we're the best in the region. But M80 definitely making a case for being that much better than them, especially for Diaz. Once again, just an amazing round. I'm still just absolutely blown away that I witnessed that. What a time to be alive for NA. So much talent. Looking to bring it back even farther, though. Still down 2 rounds. Job's not done for NA. Job's not done for M80.
Spirits getting the spot onto that push. Once again, you're seeing the strength of Solus right here. All the intel now being garnered. Even the nature with which they're clearing out the map, he can ascertain that, of course. So all that intel they know they have the showers rotation going into blue as well. That'll complete the set for W7M over here by White Stairs. Don't need the 3-player stack anymore. Looking moving players outside to start establishing a little bit of big window control here to get in the way of any rotations M80 would like to make on their upstairs position. Herds also set up for more aggressive swings into Cafeteria. Spirits decides to challenge anything, but obviously with the air jab blocking the doorway and him being well aware of that, not going to see that happen anytime soon. And the same pretty much can be said for the next room over, as there's an additional air jab blocking that one too.
Utter gridlock between these two teams. Inches separating our first engagement that goes awry. Some smokes down on White Stairs. A hold Herds back for some time. Rest of M80 mostly residing on site. Couple of bodies down in kitchen as well. Gonna have Gomez, pseudo assist. Not really in the same neighborhood, but relative same zip code. Drones in up top as well for W7M, trying to see if there's any extra info they can garner from a position like this. They're going into the last minute and they're trying to not fly blind. More smokes debuted on top of White Stairs. Still have one here for Keno, and he's going to safely cross, just checks it there with the little body peek. Swings his way back through. W7M, they're not feeling it just yet, but finally needs to go out, Selma down. It'll break open Attic. It's Yaga on the receiving end, but it's Keno to go down first to Herds. The shot must land for M80. They have to start firing back. Diaz with a big kill. Volps fires back, though. Yogg now, and some big frags for W7M. They've been able to garner enough kills to try and attempt a plant. It's going to be on to Julio. No real opportunity to stop this for M80. They know where the case is, but he's going to be on concrete. Spirits has to rotate all the way around. We just saw 1 versus 4. Do we have a 1 versus 3? No. Immediately nipped in the bud.
That's a little bit too much if we would see that potentially happening here. W7M would need to take a few steps back and really reanalyze themselves. Thankfully, not going to happen this time as it's shut down in the expected manner. Now, W7M have gotten themselves to map point. M80 need 3 rounds in a row to replicate the same amount of success we had back on map number 1 to trigger OT again for that fantastic comeback if they're still going for it. This is where it gets a little bit dire for them. Let's see if W7M can keep their own composure, though, as they have a basement attack coming up here. And actually, they're going to call for a timeout. There was some discussion brewing just before we went off their camera, so let's head back into this one, as we do have that attack break in. We're going to listen in to the comms of M80.
So you guys can choose that, okay? These we're going to do in basement. On Witty, don't start on there. Start on Peter already, okay? Let's find like more of beat and kids, you know? Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. On kids, come back to side. Come back to side. I said that, remember? Come back to side and yeah, reinforce the 2 towers, please. One was open. Yo, what if we bring some? What if we bring some? Bro, we can win that shit. It's defense oriented, okay? Let's focus and win that shit, bro. Okay? Let's go, bro.
So she brought back 6-2 today.
All right, we're back into it. And just in case anyone was wondering, it threw me off a little bit there, too. I thought this may have been M80's pause, but it actually was W7M taking that break after they won out the round there. So actually giving M80 a bit of a very much-needed breather here to analyze how they would play things on the upcoming round. I think that's very much what W7M was looking to do here, as well as I think they just want to end it on this round. So the pause was specifically to bring out something special. We'll see what it's going to be, as we have the Capitao and Glaz getting repicked into. So W7M are certainly cooking up something a bit unorthodox here.
They got your favorite Oven player. Aren't you so excited?
I have yet to be convinced. I'm patiently waiting for the round that convinces me, but I have yet to see it yet.
That's the next meme on the social media platforms. John waiting on a successful Glaz round.
Just I've seen like 7 or 8 of them
in your whole life.
Between this event, between this event and like the last 2, and it just doesn't really do it for me. It's just like he just sits there and usually misses like 4 shots and then gets picked by someone. Is usually the way it goes. So
I mean, John, I've probably seen like less than 20, and I casted through the execute meta with Glaz and Ying. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then I don't know what will. So M80 now, though, looking to try and connect some rounds together. Spirits, aggressive front. Positioned so stalwartly. Big issue there. That gunfire, door breaking in front of him. Hard to hear Herds creeping up behind him if he's moving slowly, which obviously was the case. Very well fought from W7M.
Early advantage claimed already here by our attackers as a result of that. Certainly going to hurt M80, but doesn't throw them out of the round yet because they can still rely on the bunker setup on the inside of the site here. And pretty much going to have to now as it looks like we have everybody returning to the site, just playing this out. W7M with plenty of time now, too. M80 won't even really try to lean themselves out to aggressive positions inside of that site. They just have to sit back and kind of wait this one out. So W7M, the map is their oyster. They can do whatever the heck they want over this next minute and a half or so before finally being thrusted into an execute. Plenty of time to analyze how they want to approach this. And with them building specifically into an execute setup, this could have very bad echoing effects onto M80's defense.
Still a lot of smokes to the disposal of W7M as well. This is where Glaz is at his most potent. Is going to be a basement assault though. Nitrocell in Yogg's hand as well as Warden and the smokes of Kino, so they can delay here. Yogg's got the glasses on, nobody stepping up though. This is the initial one. Still have 3 smokes if you include Volps and KZ, so lots to be done here. It's going to be up to Yaga to try and prevent most of this from the Freezer hallway position.
We are seeing the Glass try to push himself specifically from Freezer. He's very much the solo push that's going to overwatch the plant here from this side in case anyone tries to push directly into Laundry itself. With the Laundry players, of course, pushing back any of the play we might get from the inside of the closet. Yaga, though, more than ready for the challenge from KZ as he tries to go full forward to get the clearance, prevent a flank against him once he takes Overwatch here. JB92 dropping down as well, that a change of the team's fate a little bit good on the point adjustment from him to take back that Freezer control, without which they very much would have lost the round. Now look at these kills flooding in left and right as they take that full control. Gomez left alone here now inside of the 1v2. It's winnable, but unfortunately not when you've got shots like that coming in. JB92 shuts it down. And with that, W7M give us a convincing map number 2 scoreline, snatching it right out of the hands of their opponents as they picked into it, of course. 7-3 is the final scoreline, and this also activates map 3 of the series.
Oxygen able to get 6 rounds in a row on Oregon earlier today, but not in the cards for M80. 7-3 is the score line, and not only that, but the map being M80's as well, feeling confident working into Oregon, but will they feel confident on their very next map? That's a real question. Excited to see how this one is going to resolve itself. We've got 1 map to go between W7M and M80.
Me chama uma vez, eu me várias, né?
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
And we're back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 3 has been achieved by both of these teams here. Now, M80 up against W7M. The scoreline has not been traditional, to say the least here, but it has been fun to watch these two maps play out so far. This time, we are able to see W7M capture the 5-1 advantage that they also had on map number 1, but unfortunately fell behind from this time. They close it down, tie us up at 1-1 by taking control of M80's own map pick, and send us on to a third map of Clubhouse.
Really depends on your definition of fun, doesn't it, John? If you're a North American fan, you might not be too happy about how Oregon went, but if you're rooting for Brazil, if you're rooting for W7M, definitely happy as a clam. JV92, 15 and 3, plus 12 with a 90% cost. 189 rating to top it all off there for W7M. JV92, really the locomotive on this train that was W7M, and there was no slowing down when it came to Oregon.
And more importantly with the JV92 stat too is the fact that, once more, he's playing on entry. So the fact that he's got that 3-0 entry stat as well, and then continues to dominate in the mid and late round with that 15-3 statistic, that's very impressive. And something that M80 now have to watch out for here. The good news is, of course, moving into this one, they will be on the attacking side. So they'll have a chance to deal with him very early on in the round, but it also means they're going to have to go up against him potentially right from the start of these ones. As he'll be that one, maybe two players that'll constantly be out and about on the room game looking for those dirty early picks if they can be found. Even though, of course, you move on to Clubhouse, which is going to rely a bit more on the actual site setups and the team composition together to win out rounds on the defense. Either way, though, folks, we're getting into it. Clubhouse is getting started, so let's see which team will end up on top when it's all said and done.
Yes, indeed, John. It's bound to be a slobber knocker between these two. Excited to see how it breaks down. The very last time that we saw W7M on this map, they played up against BDS, where they ended up winning out that game. And the same could be said for M80, as they ended up beating Team Sacred. Both of those games happening here at the Six Invitational. Now they're both lined up across from each other inside of this best of 3 that has reached the ultimate limit here. The last map. So we see who can possibly claim it, push themselves further on into this bracket. This is the second game of the day here for W7M. Effectively, I do believe their 6th map as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed it is.
Yep, BDS's sequence went 2-1, so yes, this will be the 6th map here for W7M as we get things started.
The ban's already rolling. Ace being the hard breach that'll get banned out this time around here just because of his ease of access. Make things a little bit more involved for whoever's going to pick up that mantle on M80. And of course, W7M sides when we switch halves. Ying, as she's pretty much been banned out every single map so far in this series, and still makes perfect sense for this map. And then finally, Solus and Valkyrie remain the bans this time. So we're going to swap the Azami for the Solus. And that means Azami will be left in play for the second map in this series.
We'll be seeing her more than likely for a lot of the positionings downstairs, as well as, you know, gym bedroom / CCTV for the garage paneling. We usually see built up for rafters. So Church Arsenal going to be adopted. Azami will rotate her way in. She'll probably be played in like 80% of these rounds here, I would assume. So see what W7M want to do with this basement setup. They've got the mirror in play, so expect a couple of soft walls around, and for them to try and play out via these. This is something that we saw them do pretty well when it came to border. This is going to be a lot more tight-knit, though. Don't have nearly as long of angles to try and adopt that in. This mirror window not going to be used on the main wall. assuming one will be used here at the dummies box. We see Julio currently right now, but excited to see how they want to try and utilize these going forward.
Create a bit of an annoying angle to play against here. If we do see some action from M80 trying to get themselves to the inside of blue. We'll see how that all transpires, of course, once they reach that pivotal execute point for the rest of W7M. We're gonna see that position boosted too a little bit. We see some zombie barricades going down onto either side. That will create a little bit of a winged defense setup if they want to try and slow things down on the M80 clear. Speaking of which, they have now spawned out. Nitro is prepped from KZ. There's gonna be some pre-fire in the window too. If it goes away outright, he could chuck it there, but the time for that is unfortunately long gone. Backs away from that position relatively quickly, and it looks like everybody except for one is going to rejoin the actual basement defense. Still have one player out on their lone summit. It's gonna be Herds actually, it looks like, continuing to roam around there on the first floor, causing some problems. As we see JV92, to correct myself, just a bit deeper there on the inside of Dirt Tunnel, with everyone now locked in here to the basement.
Well, as to be expected for Clubhouse, M80's basically a secretary. It's a lot of process work. Got to roll the numbers, John. Start punching that calculator. So we got to break up the flooring, get this hard breach done, and we have to do it all without dying to the multitude of nitro cells and explosives that W7M have at their disposal. M80, rather, and the ones getting the hatches open now. Kino looking to pick up a very common angle when it comes to the hatch work here for Kitchen. Just rappel on this window. You can go upside down or what have you. And also past that, you can see he's applying these in a 2-set and not a 4. It takes 4 to open up these hatches, but he's doing this because he wants them to use their impacts. You see JV92 had to burn up both of his impacts just to get a set of 2, and Wilkino, he's still got 12 in his pocket.
So eventually he's able to work his way into a position to open up that hatch. Spirits here knocking the barricade out of the way as well, since the zombie's going to try to reinforce some of this paneling and just get in the way of the angles that M80 will want to set up here. JV92 will throw that one down, also to prevent W7M from having a kind of winning shot into the depths of the arsenal there. Is that in the way? Now that we're down to that final minute, it does look like M80 is preparing for the drop to get themselves into basement and start to push forward onto the actual site. KZ, the players from W7M still stand directly into the way of this. Nice angle spotted out by KZ here. Catches Spirit before he's even ready to drop back down there. Has him while he's up on top, and then realizing that someone else may want to try to go to this angle to refrag. So he's like, hey, why don't I try to pre-fire here again? Gets himself another kill. Vault is also having some similar success. So he is able to take down one more player. Gomez successfully breaches past the veil. However, over in blue, and Yaga will find a similar pick. Back over by Moto. Won't be able to take it much further than that, though, as JV92 has the read on the rotate, gets the pre-fire going through the paneling, and ends this round outright in W7M's favor. They strike first here to win the first round of the map.
What a perfect round from W7M, and some mismatched utility going down inside of blue. Big misplay there from the Thatcher. They tried to EMP things out, and it worked for the blue side of things, but the EMPs didn't reach far enough to really affect anything over by Dummy's box. And my discs were still on when they went for the nades. They tried to clear that out, but obviously KZ had already repositioned himself when that second frag grenade poured in. It was the first one that they really needed to land, so that's what led to the downfall of M80 as they put their faces in the hatch and immediately get decapitated from KZ's MPX.
We'll see if W7M can continue their defensive rampage just overall inside of this series. W7M probably feeling pretty good about the fact that they got the start on this side, given the way the series has played out so far. Neither team really having a winning formula for the attacking side. Start to see W7M kind of piece things together towards the tail end of map number 2. Really just getting that composure then and there. We'll have to see if that strength will be found once again. Close out actually a few more rounds when they switch sides, but I'll also have to wait and see if M80 has learned anything, of course, as they're thrusted right onto that disadvantageous side. Can't necessarily rely on their defensive play to win things anymore, as we saw back in map number 2. So they're going to want to try and pick up at least a couple of rounds here, 2 at the minimum, in my guessing, to try and make sure they stand a chance when the side flip happens, assuming, of course, that W7M are looking to try and dominate the defensive half of this map again.
Exothermic off here on the main panel. Nothing doing for W7M. No bandits about or anything of the sort. Actually surprised that KZ stuck himself in this situation. He's stuck here. is forced at least Yaga off of that position, but gave up a lot of his HP in order to accomplish it.
Gomez trying to go for a swing up above. Having to weight things back here. The rest of the team not in position for that type of success just yet here. Still very early days as far as this round is concerned, so we're a bit of a ways off from any of that follow-up action. The rest of the team definitely positioned for garage control, and on top of that, the play at the main balcony too. It's Yaga to strike first here, finding KZ out. Putting M80 on the right foot forward here. So I believe he catches him over in that garage catwalk. That should open up the catwalk too for the rest of M80 to potentially push into, but correct myself again here. It was not the entire piece of it. As expected, you're gonna have the Azami put into position on top of this garage catwalk, and she will be the primary defender for this part of the map. w7m still gonna be able to maintain it because of that, and M80 will still have a bit more work to do, it seems here. Even a flank position way down in the basement there that we're just gonna catch thanks to the Observer. So still have some potential for Herds to leap back into the fray here as well and slow down the plans from M80, if not shut them down outright. If he goes unnoticed here. Creeping over towards oil pit though, that could be dangerous as he, I think, has sent out a shot or two, so that's gonna give him away down below.
Ludicrous position here from w7m. JV92, that would, oh wow, so much damage still via the hip fire. Hurts, this is so close. I know to get the fight up against Kino, but he can't. No pre-fire, John. No will there. Now w7m, 2 versus 4, make it a 2 versus 3 as Volps quickly dispatches Kino. Still so much time, and w7m have a leg to stand on. Still have Julio here with a smoke, so they can prevent for at least some time. No drones for M80. 2 drones on, but are those in good positions? That's the real question. Impact out, won't be able to get the exothermic. Now the back panel open here for Diaz. Cross established, and the players here. Here we go, big plant time. Smoke out, preventative maintenance. I don't think it'll land. Diaz will go down, actually it will. They have to try and hop too. They have to take the gunfights. Yaga's down, Gomez is stuck. He has to rotate in towards Julio, who's on green box. Has to take the fight up against the shotgun, but no time. Around we go inside of Cash, and w7m win it again.
It doesn't matter how one-sided the round may look. If the team is on defense, do not give up on them, as they very well may still stand a chance. As we see here, Volps starting to come back. The fumble on the plant spurs the rest of the clutch onward as w7m absolutely steal round number 2 directly out of the hands of M80. Beautifully played by them to go back into a controlling position for it. And now still excelling on this defensive half. They go to the final point of their rotation over here into the gym bedroom site to see if they can lock in a third round. M80 was at least flashing the glass play again, which would make sense here because of the amount of window overwatch he can establish, but we are going to see a repick already to move away from that one over onto the Yana instead from the looks of things.
Interestingly enough here for M80, 100% win rate in recent history on Clubhouse, but the same cannot be said for w7m. Have a, what was it here? 60% win rate with 5 plays as of late, but that's not all in Six Invitational. A lot of their losses actually coming from a team that is also here and one that resides in their region, Liquid, as their 2 losses on the page are actually from them. So doesn't mean the w7m can't take the series outright though, as they've had for at least 2 rounds so far. Round 3 now on the docket. And they're going to be extending all the way out over towards the eastern side. The rotation made for the top of Cash. This is something that we see teams flirt with every once in a while, and it's usually followed up with a deployable shield, as we'll have this time. No ADS is in the area, but don't really need it. This is just to make it to where Julio's position is even more annoying to deal with, as there's going to be constant crossfires from members from w7m, playing in towards M80 once they try and clear out those positions. Do we have the Thatcher work in? We do indeed. So Yaga will help process the wall. Diaz awaiting his arrival. Once we get this going, they'll have the Jacuzzi wall pretty handedly, unless Herds can stop it. Gonna have the bandit trick active here. Only frag grenades on Gomez. How does this play out? Oh, they're going to go for the Mav trick instead. So smart here from Spirits. But can't go for the old tried and true, can he, John? The Nitro Cell rip for Herds. You see Spirits, he's worried about it as well.
Backs up for just a moment. Do the same thing again now that he's opened up something down below. Does not want to give away an opportunity for that Nitro to potentially come out against him here. So only just going to lock in the elimination of that Bandit battery. Doubles back afterwards, relying instead on the Thermite to pop this one open for himself and the rest of his team. They've got the avenue. now do they have a secondary angle with which to boost this initial one and get themselves into the site? Otherwise, Keys is more than ready to shut down any direct swings the team will look to go for here. And even better than that, can just shoot out these attempts to hard breach their way in directly. So that's going to keep the Bandit position nice and stable.
Impossible situation for M80 at the current moment. So low on time, nobody's rotated over to the eastern front. Everybody's on the roof right now. They're going to drop off onto the master balcony side. They'll keep Kino over on Jacuzzi, but now the kill's coming through for w7m. M80, they've done this way too slowly. w7m, not only that, have now used that to its fullest advantage. 2 big kills. Even if this goes wrong for JB92, he's still wasting time. They're all stuck over here now. He's got Julio waiting in the wings as well. He'll just run back downstairs. A lot of damage off onto Diaz. Kino almost dead now, and he will go down. Diaz works his way in. Yaga here as well for CCTV. w7m, they haven't even given up a body yet, John. Decisive work here on Clubhouse. M80, they might need the tack timeout yet again.
And it's looking likely as it's going to be a flawless one from w7m as well. Here's the problem. Those tack timeouts have not necessarily translated into any immediate success for the players on this attacking side. So they still might end up going for it. It's their play style. It's the way they've tried to operate up until this point. We're going to see now if the call comes in for it. But at the moment, we're just going to keep on trucking. Not looking like we get it this time.
I'm really interested because I could have sworn to God I saw the w7m coach flip his mic down, but I guess he probably just assumed the same thing as us. It's like, oh, it's got to be coming. But
yeah, he probably thought M80 were going to call it and just kind of prepared for it, but much like we did. But just did not end up happening. And honestly, I think this is the right call. I don't think that calling for a pause right now is going to necessarily change anything up. M80 very much set in their ways. I think the adjustments they will make are minimal at best, so need to keep on trucking here until the coach can potentially come in here and interrupt the play style entirely.
Oh, some rough waters ahead for M80 given that circumstance. w7m, full site rotation success so far.
10 seconds.
Now it's back to base. It's back to the basement. See if they can do it yet again here. Very successful positioning from w7m the last time, most notably for the likes of KZ as he was playing around Dummy's box. M80 not able to dislodge him from that spot as the frag grenades not really hitting their mark, weren't able to get the EMPs to go off on the Wamai discs in the way that they wanted. And now w7m, 3 rounds, 2 past that one that we just mentioned. M80 back at the very beginning. They went down all of the chutes here in chutes and ladders back to the very start of the map. So see what they can get done now here entering round 4.
It's going to be a slow roller as usual from M80. Just kind of lost the confidence to go for any type of early dash plays against these w7m setups. They have not really led into a whole lot of success. They've got to play things out methodically and proceed with their map clearage in the same exact fashion. Thankfully, once more, since we are at the basement, not a whole lot of that clearing to be done. w7m is back in the bunker. Everybody committed fully to the basement there, so we'll see them all continue to latch on to that. That means that M80 have really all the time in the world to try and set up for that successful execute. Whether they'll be able to follow it through is, as usual, the big question. And unfortunately, we're not going to see too promising of a start from it here. As Spirits is dropped down, I believe on the inside of Kitchen here is where he will be found out through a top-down angle. Oh, actually, yeah, it's going to be very
Oh, too, wow.
That's super unfortunate with the way that pans out. A little bit out from Kitchen, but in the area at least, yeah. As he goes down just beyond that soft breach panel there.
Oh, my!
The Nitro perfectly timed from KZ. That one's going to get Yaga. And now with those 2 players dead, we're going to have to see. Still both the hard breaches left up, so hatches can still be open. It's not impossible for M80 to turn this round back on its heels, but considering the minimal damage that's also been done to w7m and the fact that w7m are now just wildly peeking into these hatches, it's not looking that great right now. Gomez decked down to half of his HP. Kino basically in the same spot. This is looking bleak right now for our attackers.
Rocking a hard place now for M80. KZ making it even more so, down to the 2 versus 4. The shotgun playing tight on the Moto door. Stuns in, Volp's forced off, but no real play available to Diaz. No way for them to open this wall either. It's gonna have to be the funnel play. So far so good here for M80. They're somehow managing to play this out inside of the 2 versus 3. A nice pre-fire will take down one of the members of w7m. Kino finds a position upstairs. He can drop into the site if they can try and maintain this cross. Those ones on dummy, but he can't win the fight. And now Herds and the rest of the squad can take it immediately to Diaz's home, right to his place, address and all. W7M 4-0, and finally the tag timeout comes through.
Yeah, unfortunately splitting up there at the tail end of it, for me at least, really sealed the deal. We had that kind of like a zombie Fortnite wall built in the middle of the hall. Stack 3 of them on top of each other.
Homie just built a 90 panel right there.
We got a attack break coming up here from M80. Let's take a listen though.
If you guys cannot do that, let's do a cash over. Do a cash over, default, bro. Just what we need to do, bro, to work, you know? Let's do, if it's Jin, let's do cash over. If it's cash, I think they're gonna fight with all the Azamis there. Let's go to the other side, bro. Let's go to the other side. Don't fight the Azami. Let's go to the other side, okay? Yeah. That's it. And if it's bar and they're playing like this, bro, if it's bar, let's rush. Let's play the Kaeb and plant fast, bro. Let's plant flash on the door, you know? So monitor secret, hold everything in lounge, and they're gonna plant fast, calling the Kaeb, okay? One guy stay on the highway, okay?
Yeah, I get it.
You think?
Pues.
Alright, it's gonna be...
Probably gym or bar.
No, it has to be CCTV or bar.
So M80, not entirely certain about where we're going to see the site play out.
I was going to say, well, one of them was right.
Yeah. So 3 different guesses going out there. So not going to get that rush. That would have been fun to see, as I know that it was being described for the bar play, but W7M goes for the cash. Pick up instead here. So it's going to be a little bit more of a traditional clear from M80.
Nice little mention there from Vivas, saying, hey guys, we have options. You don't have to try and be bullheadish. You don't have to try and go for the initial play. If they want to try and have a full-on aggressive defense towards the one angle you're working, just go to the other well. Try and work it from another angle. We'll see if M80 can try and take any of that advice and apply it through round 5. They only have 2 rounds to really adapt that into their play here. But it'd be 2 big rounds as they really need it at this moment in time. W7M, the first time that we saw a 5-1 split, not able to actually close it out on border. But the second time on Oregon, well, they made their presence known. They took that one 7-3. You do not want to give a squad with this caliber of players on it this big of a lead.
M80, one of their last chances now to make an impact in the first half. Otherwise, W7M will once again dominate, as they have been for the previous 2 maps in the first half as well. Always getting those defensive starts. It's giving them a little bit more of an advantage to play on. It's now M80 on the back foot of things yet again, potentially relying on another one of those miracle comebacks that, yes, they achieved it back in map number 1 over on border, but replicating that success is nigh impossible. And at least for me, I have never seen comebacks of that nature occur twice in one series. We'll have to see what kind of strength M80 has to continue this play, moving deeper into it. We're going to see a cancel of the initial attempt to pop things open. Diaz.
Oh no.
Timing's deep a little bit here.
Oh no.
The battery's going down, and he's actually going to back up. He could have placed it on the right one, as that was shot back out. Should have been able to get away with it, but never mind.
Commit, John.
Yep. The good news is he still has both of his charges, but
That's the problem. Gomez still only has 1 EMP. Yep. Oh, M80, right after attack timeout. This is the play that we get? This is bad. So this wall is going to be completely sealed up for practically this entire time. Need this. This is the answer right here. Spirits has to land these nades.
One really sitting on the other side of it. He's going to try to play them up from top-down angles. First one goes in. This one will actually take down.
Look at this time, John. Minute and a half in. That's how long it takes to get the CCTV wall. That is terrible timing from M80.
And he's a nade to get it done as well, basically brute forcing back the Bandit after wasting out the large majority of their EMPs. Still with another one to chuck into the site itself to trip up any inner site utility that would be attempting to slow this team down. We don't really have a whole lot of it, to be honest with you, save for magnets as well as pests. So things will still proceed pretty much according to plan for M80, regardless of if we see that impact landing or not. Big wrap from Herds as well. Construction is just wide open for the taking. The only saving grace is he doesn't get the outright confirmation, so maybe we see Kino brought back up here. However, y'all got way too concerned with the player in Logi itself here. He's going to take him down first and can't get it. Diaz does find a follow-up exchange onto one of the members of W7M, but I mean, I can't even finish my sentence. It falls apart so quickly. Herds with one final kill. W7M seal the deal on round number 5. They have got it again at guaranteed minimum. Another 5-1 half is going to happen.
Yeah, W7M trying to give M80 an early bedtime here in game 3. 5-0, no tack timeout remains for M80. This is looking like it could be a perfect half. M80 did try to apply themselves in the way that Viva said, though. They tried to work their way around the map. The key factor to that entire round there was the fact that it took them literal centuries in siege time to get that CCTV wall open. It never takes that long, and the fact that M80 had that much miscommunication about the EMPs and the thermite play and, you know, the X-Kairos going down, you have all of these things at your disposal, but yet you're still not able to get a single portion of that wall open. It's just inexcusable in that situation.
It's rough, to say the least, now for the M80 roster, as once again they are tripped up by that in an attempt to reposition their players, establish some presence over in construction. They are not able to drone out Logi, where a member of w7m is allowed to get away with multiple kills. A supporting teammate comes in from Cash to help out with that even further after one is traded down. It just builds on itself. As w7m takes more of an advantage, they double, if not triple down on those positions to ensure they can push that advantage as far as humanly possible, and it is creating a lot of issues for M80, especially in that late round yet again, where w7m has finally been able to make some corrections. Still struggling a bit at that same phase of the round on their own personal attacks, but that doesn't even matter right now when they are leading the way they are. Unless that comeback energy comes in once again for M80 like we were seeing on map number 1, we are seeing w7m put themselves quickly on a path towards shutting this down in 2-1 fashion.
Yes, indeed. M80, some absolutely amazing players, but you can just tell the prowess of w7m here. Again, this is their 6th map, folks, and they look like they are well-rested, just had a nice breakfast. Truly incredible what they've been able to produce so far. Between DS Spirits and Yaga, they are 3 and 15 on this map. Amazing, amazing stuff from w7m. M80 now looking to try and garner a singular round, a participation trophy practically if they're able to get it, but they need it. It'll be the only cushion between w7m and victory.
Main balcony wall going to be opened up. Does not guarantee anything as of yet, however, M80 still need to clear out the player actually on the inside of Cash. This is just an access point as far as they're concerned. Nitro gonna go through.
Oh my god, no!
What?
What? That was a nuke? That was a literal nuke?
I think he walked directly into it there as he was opening up the wall. He thought he was gonna hop, and then the exact circumstance transpires. Beautifully timed there to be able to pick that one up. Player who chucked it. He's gonna lose their advantage now, though, as JB92 does get traded back out, but beautifully swung. I believe that was Julio there. That sends that one out and knocks down Spirits.
Yeah, Spirits, one of our French Canadians, says bon voyage. He's blown sky high. KZ able to at least seal the panel up. w7m looking so strong, even though they're down JV92. They've set a precedent. And it's scaring M80 at the current moment. It feels like they could make any mistake and the entire game could just fly out of their hands. But you can see just how confident w7m are at the current moment. A stun in here from Kino, and he's going to go for the swing. Tries to get the man off the mirror as well. Yaga with the big kill here. M80, they've still got some fight left. Whoops, what an angle here. Prone on the floor of Master. Gomez steps wrong, he dies, but what an angle! Gomez adopts it, rips the head off of Volps, and this is what they need! w7m, they can't get it done. Julio, 5-0 since the rehost. Really can't get much going here.
10 seconds to go.
Oh. Rotates around, John, but not able to get it done. Finally, a death for him. Vebus hype after M80 are finally able to garner a round, and it looked like w7m's all over the board until M80's angles from this outside position, especially for Gomez, light up the world, and it keeps him alive.
So 3 maps in a row now. We have had a 5-1 w7m scoreline to start things out. First round, or first map rather, unable to capture it. Allowed M80 to bring it all the way back into overtime. And then M80 still closed it down, completing the comeback. Same fate did not transpire on map number 2, however. Yes, it did take a few rounds, but ultimately w7m were still able to lock it down relatively quickly, with 7-3 being the final scoreline. Now, let's see if they can improve that one step further. Goes without saying at this point, but 2 out of the next 6 now need to be claimed here by w7m, and the series will be theirs. For M80, what can they bring to bear here? We need that big comeback energy yet again, but I'm just not sure if we'll get that much out of them.
Well, John, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. M80 has a road ahead of them. They're ready to ride that road. 5-1 half for W7M. Nothing that M80 hasn't dealt with before. Made quick ordeals out of what we saw on Border. Now, looking to do it again on Clubhouse. It all starts with this basement defense. The Electro Shuffle being performed on the Moto Hash. We'll see how successful that is. Have the EMPs in play for JV92, so if worse comes to worse, should be a pretty straightforward ordeal.
Gonna be pretty light on early round activities, though. The fact that M80 are playing things back so much. Volps quickly knocking out Kino. Oh no, did he try to... He did. He tried to hold back the dirt push, it looks like there. Maybe he just caught retreating. Maybe he was in a bad position when it got open. I was thinking we didn't see it on camera, but...
Kino is a man.
That's
he might be kind of a dumb man in that situation, but he's definitely a man.
That's probably one of the worst operators to go down this early. That's the smoke. All three of the toxic babes and most of the delay potential's now gone. Spirits will be beaten out here in his attempt to trick things on Moto Hatch. That's going to be open now.
You know what's worse about that? That's the spot as well. Like, dirt position for smoke is so amazing if you can keep it for the late round, because a lot of teams like to plant right under kitchen hatch in that little dark corner.
So unfortunate there, as he will not be able to maintain that due to the direct clear that comes in from W7M. Good advanced read to be able to shut him down from that position. Now puts the rest of M80 in a not so great spot. We'll have to see. W7M still need to move forward with the confidence to actually make their way into the basement. Oftentimes, that's the point of the round where these teams will fumble a little bit. That'll give our defenders an opportunity to bounce back. Something that we very much need to see M80 do. An immediate 6th round. He's going to be the beginning of the end here for M80. So need to put their feet down right here on the basement setup. This is the one we'd expect them to close out on too, as this is the bread and butter that most teams' defensive halves on this map. For M80. It might just be a little too much here as we do boil down to that last minute. W7M seem pretty much ready to go to work their way in.
Oh.
For Mainsters. Volp's just going to push it too. Herd commits to the outside of this one. He will get spotted. Gomez as well will catch his teammate trying to move in behind him. That'll be Herds falling first. Equalizes us now down to the 4v4. Moto's going to get blocked, at least initially here, but there's no problem for JV92 to drop down and wait for a player to cross his angle anyway. 30 seconds to go. Still no serious movement being made by W7M. Will only reach the edges. Now getting into the site. Oh, what a flick there from Volps to get back control of that fight there. Wins it out, but it's still M80 controlling the overall fight and shutting down the play from Moto to put a definitive statement forward and show that they are here to survive for at least a little bit longer in the second half.
A misstep from Kino early, but M80 good for it as they clean up W7M on the entry. No real point for them to try and get a foothold on either, as Moto definitely wasn't it. Tried to force themselves into Armory, but the AK position too strong for the defense. So W7M not able to get onto match point yet, and M80 start this long and very strenuous journey up to hopefully overtime here for their sake.
Attackers have located a bomb.
W7M fail at the first attempt. But plenty more room to go here. However, pressure. A little thought in the back of their mind of the fact that, well, we already messed this up on the first map is potentially starting to show up for them. It'll cause some worries, some potential hesitance to their actions. They cannot get locked in that mindset, have to focus now on shutting this down before M80 gets their own confidence back, and we start seeing crazy plays from them as well. Kino is already trying to wind up for one, of course, going onto the docks. We'll see what shenanigans he gets up to. Overall, a bit of a different look here for M80 compared to what we got from W7M on the first half. And Echo coming into play on this one, and man, M80 just cannot win these early gunfights. What the hell? Where even is he?
Did he kill him all the way over in supply? What did he rip open? I don't see the corpse either here. It's got to be one on these doors, obviously. Is he on the...
It's not main stairs.
Not main stairs, not over here on supply.
Where the heck did he die?
Yeah, I thought he might have died on the main stairs window there as well, but it doesn't seem properly broken. It's so interesting. What the heck happened there? Either way, though, that is going to be Gomez going down. I'm sure we'll all see it in the reviews later on, but like you said, M80 cannot buy an opener here. Once again, down for the count, and not only that, W7M, they've removed a lot of the nuance from this round, John. You had the line and the Dokkaebi here, so the info game, very straightforward.
Yazami being removed kind of hurts things a little bit as well. they were going to build up a greater defensive presence in the mid-round with her additional barricades that she was going to get. No longer can that happen, of course. Head to rights inside of this round. Kino already trying to challenge the opening once. Will prompt him to quickly juice himself back up there. But does the swing come forward again? Indeed it does. JV92 is just sitting here, man. He's got the patience of a saint. We've already seen him deploy towards this in previous matchups, but Kino, no respect against him. As we actually had an EMP being chucked out there instead, so Kino gonna be able to grab JV92 here. Caught him in the middle of the animation. Fortunate timing indeed for JV92, but indeed he goes down, and that equalizes things.
All patience of a saint, but soft hands, brother. You got soft hands. Oh, wow. Well, DS. Man, that's gonna be a terrible way to wake up, ain't it?
He waited till he got off cams and everything too.
That's unfortunate. That really brings you back to like 2000s gaming right there, right? And for the man to get off his kill streak, immediately kill him right after. W7M, they're making mincemeat out of this round, but now Spirits, that's a big kill. Has a long way to go though. No logic bombs for KZ. He's waiting for the cross back. Remember, this is bar. Big plays here. W7M have got to clear out this top floor. Well, it's going to be very problematic for their plant going forward. This might be the angle.
Silence, it appears, up top here now as that plant comes in.
Oh, Yaga can't stop it.
Nope. The bar blocks it, unfortunately, so no way to work his way back into it. Flashes himself outside. W7M immediately shut down the retake. It never even really gets started as well. So there's going to be round number 6 up on the board here. Will they make an improvement on their map 2 scoreline as well? Just slowly but surely getting the hang of this 5-1 thing here as they're reducing the amount of rounds that M80 are picking up. It was 7-3 on the last map. They couldn't even handle it on map number 1, but this time looking like they're going to improve it potentially by 1 round. That is, of course, unless M80 comes together now in what could be their last defense in CCTV and Cash.
Some very, very scary teams, it seems, from the choices that were to be made. W7M able to make it so very far here today. Looking just as strong on their 6th map as they did on their 1st, and looking to take said 6th map in 7-2 fashion. Some cheeky frost mats abound here for M80 inside of Garage. One up top on the rafters as well. We'll have the Dokkaebi work its way in again for KZ. Very successful, as well as, again, a patience play working out for W7M, as he just stood stalwart on that top floor. Didn't get too aggressive on the M80 member that was residing there. Just waited for them to try and rotate and stop that plant from going down. Works out extremely well. Always with a fantastic recognition of the power positions around the map and the way to try and play for those. And it's really been giving M80 a big problem in this series.
W7M is going to brute force their way into this one with the Monty. Try to bully Spirits out of position and should be able to do that. However, we do have the frost mats in play from Gomez too, so that's more than likely going to slow things down. And indeed, we do have one of those frost mats in position on top of the garage staircase, so that is going to slow down the normal path that the Monty would take. However, we don't have confirmation that he's actually doing that just as of yet. He's brought the smokes this time, so not busy taking care of something on the other end of the map, just as we see finally resuming that position. And indeed, he's going to go for the crawl up those garage stairs, but we'll run into the obstacles that I was just describing a few seconds ago here. Spirits very confident in his hold now. Oh no! The trap works out, gets him high enough up to the top of the stairs. The impact comes out as well, decks him down to the ground. Reload. And with that, we are going to see the shots come in to finish things off there. Volpstead, the Monty, will not work out this time around here for WCM.
Oh.
And Julio quickly equalizing the situation, however, as he catches a very aggressive Yaga trying to peek out there at the construction window.
Pretty surprised that Yaga went back for the second punch on that window. W7M able to equalize because of that now. Herds, this might be the play right here, John. He's coming up cash stairs. There's not a single thing to stop him from doing this. No one's aware. The smoke is dead. He's up red. Can he get the players inside of construction? Though he can't. Has to be a flood in here from W7M, though. We need some activity going on. 3 versus 3. They're going to work their way in. Try and go up red stairs as well as another logic bomb pours in. They know that there's nothing on this position. Gomez has to try and stop this angle. He knows that the man is on the rappel. He'll take him out. Some shots in from KZ. Some nice shots onto DS. He knows he's in the angle, knows he's in the corner. KZ, though, will get taken down. 1 versus 1. It's up to Julio. One of the longest standing players for Rainbow Six Siege. A hammer lifter in his own right. Does he go for the pickup onto KZ?
They have the info.
Has the ping. Has the stun! Oh, the shot! Spirits! He gets away with one, another stun out. What's he gonna do? How's he gonna play off of this? He can rotate back in. He can go for this plant. So much time to play around this, John. Fate hangs in the balance for this squad. Julio tagged up. Nice shot from Spirits. Constantly delaying. Julio so strong. Oh, he's such an amazing player. Does not want to give this up. Here comes the swing. Spirits playing with it, flirting with disaster. Julio, he steps up. Here it comes. Back and forth. Spirits keeps M80 alive. W7M. Julio, he can't get it up against M80. He can't get it up against Spirits.
Spirits refusing to give up there, more importantly, refusing to fully commit to the peak. That's exactly what Julio wanted inside of the 1v1. They're getting him out in the open for a direct gunfight, but Spirits smartly refuses to give him that, refuses to stop for even a single second there, and let his opponent get the train onto him. We saw that as well. Julio just panicking the one time he did try to swing out into the open there, not able to capture the spray. And with that, M80 once again survived for one more round. 3 to go in a row now, but they're on the path back. We'll see if they can make it the full distance, as they have another basement defense coming up here too.
Yeah, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, you might be a dead man. Be honest with you. 3 rounds to go for M80. And that round feeling like it was intended for main stage. W7M. So strong on this offensive side so far. M80, although they won the round, it was definitely one that was begrudgingly so. As W7M was able to fully exploit their red stairs. Not a single piece of utility lane on, no barbed wire, nothing to tell them what was going on, and it almost lost them the game.
So another opportunity for W7M to end it here and now. It has evaded them on the previous round. Set up for success, it seemed, as well, with the way they were able to play, but keep in mind, W7M had to scrap their way just to get to that position in the round to begin with here after losing their Montaigne earlier on, with a good play coming in from Gomez on the Azami. I think they'll roll much more slowly this time as well, with it being that bunker set up inside of the basement. W7M will just safety clear the upstairs floors. And once they get confirmation that we do indeed have a complete lack of a roam game, can focus up once again on opening up those hatches and all of the top-down angles, mainly from kitchen side, to deploy themselves to either site.
Well, basement has been one of the favorite sites here when it comes to Clubhouse. Been seeing quite a bit of play on it. 95 rounds entirely. Nice kill there from Herds as W7M trying to push themselves forward. Herds almost cleaning up Gomez as well. Kind of an aggressive look there. M80 giving over the goods in a certain sense. A lot of damage off to Gomez. I do not like this right now, John. This is starting to get very worrisome, especially after losing Yaga early on in that. We saw Yaga die inside of the previous round as the opening blood for W7M as well. So not working well for him. Spirits trying to get that Electro Claw back in time, but really worried about the potential Mav holes being made and his demise because of that.
Especially on this site, you think that M80 would have caught on to the fact that W7M are really struggling to get those kind of late round entries and the mid-fight picks. That's the biggest reason why they've been dropping rounds so far on this attacking side. You think they want to try and abuse that and go hyper-passive here, just basically force them into the setup so they can win in similar fashion, but still trying to get a little bit adventurous here with their peaks, and as Stokes had mentioned, that's costed them and made this a little bit less secure of a position than they'd like to be in at this point in the round, of course, with Gomez being injured and Yaga being a non-factor now.
Well, with a minute remaining, how does this break down? We see W7M, case in hand of Julio. It's going to be on the Moto side. Blue player, that'll be KZ. He'll run the Gemini clone down here. Herds will more than likely wait for that. They'll hop in, they'll find one. A lot of damage off on Kino, but also a lesion trap under the ankle of the M80, or rather W7M player. M80 now, though, stepping up to the plate. Drone in, it'll find Gomez directly under the kitchen hatch. A lot of damage coming onto him now as well. Oh, what a shot! Gomez opens it up for M80. He takes down Herds. And yes, as you said, John, this is a huge problem. Such low time for w7m, but they're starting to get the kills. They need a home for this plant, though, and that's where M80 can stop this. Lots of kills pouring in now. KZ down, Diaz and Gomez have to do something. Julio with the case, they have to find a home. He'll make it to the back of church. It's up to Diaz. They have to stop him. Defenders win it. How did he get it? How has he done this? I think it was an impact that injures him. It was indeed. Oh my, the Pokeball heard round the world to keep M80 alive.
W7M seem to have all the confidence in the world until they get to the site. Then it's a matter of one of their players picking up a kill or two and relying on a snowball from that point forward. If the players from M80 are able to deny that snowball outright, the site take just never happens for W7M. That's been a problem on all 3 maps so far. We have a pause coming in here, W7M calling it. Hopefully their coaches realize this is giving out the comms. You guys need to commit to the inside of these sites. Their hesitation has costed them so many rounds now, but let's take a listen.
Vamos fazer com o capitão e Indy a gente vai foder aquela porra toda lá. Vamos abrir o taco e virar pra... A gente pega outra coisa.
Quem consegue fazer capitão? Você quer fazer dinheiro? Ó, é caçada.
O cara se prende no dinheiro com 5 reforços. Ele vai estar preso lá. Tá. Abrir o taco e virar pra caçada. Vamos matar o Bendit se ele estiver queimando. E guys, só joga em conjunto, mano. Se fuder, faz uma contagem todo junto.
Ó, eu vou pegar o capitão de cozinha 9-2. Mas você vai fazer capitão em quem? Isso que eu não tô entendendo. No dinheiro? É, capitão
no dinheiro. Porque o cara fica preso.
Ele fica preso lá.
Tira em cima e faz.
We'll come out of that pause. Obviously, again, in Portuguese, so we're not going to be able to scrape a whole lot from that. But hey, if you at home speak Portuguese, there you go. Plenty of info for you. As we get ourselves into the second to last round of regulation here.
I got it. He said win the game. You're welcome. I know.
Great insight.
Thank you. I'll be
I'm
here.
sure that came up at some point.
I'll be here all week. No worries. W7M, though, looking to try and fix some of the sins that they've been committing on this offense so far. They've been able to build up to an execution point, but don't have the gall to go for the full swing. Not willing to get in this fight with M80, and that's made it to where they've been able to fight back time and time again. That last round well within the right of W7M to take, but somehow Diaz still allowed to reside inside of blue in a pretty hotly contested position and get that impact off. A single person able to stop him in the process, keeping M80 alive. Only 2 rounds separate us here from overtime. This W7M out of the gates.
So W7M, see if they can finally get over this hesitation, commit to the inside of the site. If you're on the entry, you cannot be afraid to die here. If you are W7M right now, have to rely on your teammates, have to make sure that you have the confidence that they will trade you out and win out the rest of the round. This is especially concerning too when you consider the W7M are usually approaching these situations with a player advantage or at best even numbers. So you'd certainly want them to try and risk throwing their lives in certain situations, but they've been very hesitant. As I said before, that has led into quite a few bad situations for them. And a fuse, of course. You just saw it be used there by JB92. Certainly not the expected choice operator in really any sense still. Snuck in a few times, of course, in the past. This is going to be one of them. Works perfectly fine when you consider that the site is played quite claustrophobically by the defense, but W7M do have to push M80 into those site positions first before the fuse charges will have a real effective amount of play, in my opinion.
Not one you see every day. Yaga going, what the hell is that?
And then a full nade just kills him out of nowhere.
That was so well struck from W7M. You saw the questions. You saw the quizzical face of Yaga. I mean, what is, oh, it's a few, I'm dead.
He's like, hasn't seen that thing in like 4 months. So he had to like think about it real quickly.
Yeah, that one does not process, especially because it used to be that they never went through hard breach. Yep. So very unique situation when that one's thrown at you nowadays. And perfect time for W7M. Clears out Cash, kills Yaga, and it wasn't even the fuse that really did it. It was a frag grenade in tow with it. The combo play there from W7M. Let's see if M80s can finish their Kane's chicken.
Move themselves forward. M80 with the 4-player hold now. This is the pivotal point here. This is where W7M has struggled to get past in all of their previous attacking rounds here. So if they can slay the next player or two from M80, like I said, the snowball effect will kind of take over past that point and give the rest of the team the confidence to move in. But someone's got to get that first strike kill. If we don't see it, and M80 keeps their own composure not to over-peak into any of these situations, then in all honesty, they should be able to hold it.
If they do the thing and they don't mess it up, it just works. Big kills from w7m. They're working the map. 20 seconds remain. They can most definitely do this, John. Stuns out Julio for the plant. Do they have the stop? Keno will take down KZ. He steps up. Plan will begin. Smokes in up against JV92. They see the ankle work. Diaz trying to hit him, but he can't stop him. Diaz, Julio goes down, but so does the plant. Diaz dead, and w7m get it done off the back of a fuse play through Cash.
It is one heck of a series between these two teams, but w7m excel both earlier against BDS to start their run in the upper bracket, knocking them down, fighting for survival, but now sending one of our top 1 group teams into the lower bracket as well. The buy advantage, unfortunately not taking M80 very far as they fall to their first opponent in the upper bracket, right into the lower bracket as w7m's run continues on to the semifinals.
Well, that means that w7m will be playing none other than Koi tomorrow. Well, actually Wednesday for our playoffs. So we'll have all of our lower brackets going on, I do believe, for tomorrow. But check your schedules just to make sure on all that. But that will be the matchup, w7m versus Koi, as M80 sent to the lower bracket here.
Not the result that they were looking to have happen, but really, what can you expect on M80's side when you go down 1-5, 3 maps running, just completely unable to get a handle? All 3 of those on attacks as well, if my memory serves me correctly there. So just M80 really, really struggling with their attacks. To be fair, similarly to w7m, both teams definitely probably going to want to go back and take a little bit of a look at that side tonight, but doubly so for the players, of course, on M80, considering that they were fighting from the back foot every single map and just could not change their fate.
Yeah, the defensive win rate in this series is astronomical.
Easily
honestly.
like 90+%.
Yeah, it's like at a minimum 80% plus, which is ludicrous stuff. You never really even see that in Siege, even in a game that is defensive favored. You know, we're used to seeing the defense win things like 60% of the time, but I mean, what a showcase once again between these two, and one that we surely expected, especially given the circumstance of M80 and w7m being scrim partners for a little time. We knew it was going to be a barn burner coming into it.
Absolutely the case, but ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for myself and Stokes here
That's
today.
it for the day.
We still have, however, one final analysis desk segment, so stick with us for that, and when we return, we'll have that group ready to break things down.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
W7M goes to the upper bracket semifinal main stage, baby. And I'm super excited because I am here with Julio. Oh my goodness. I love the wave. Hi, everybody. Julio's here. So right off the bat, I have to ask you, what emotions are you feeling right now? I'm sure you're amped after that.
Yes.
Or maybe exhausted.
Yeah, like these couple of days we work a lot, because we played 2 matches today and we need to study them between the matches. We won the first one really hard against BDS, and then we had lunch, studied the M80, and it was like a hard match, You can't counter them in 2 hours. It was just like skills and our in-game leader Volps and her two like really outstanding performance.
Okay, well now you get a little bit of a rest, so that's nice, right?
One day
For a
rest.
short time.
Congrats again. And that's incredible. My question for you is, these guys are scrim partners. You play against each other a little bit. Do you feel like the operator bans were like very niche or like targeted against your team? Or do you feel like it was just generally to shut down a type of attack or something like that? How do you feel like you dealt with them?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we screaming then a lot in Brazil, and every round like, let's do this mini play to kill some guy just because we screaming then, and the bans is like the same because of the screams, and yeah, for sure the screams mattered a lot, and we know a lot about them and vice versa.
Look, Julio, the last time you played in SI was back in 2021 in Paris, and you won it with Ninjas in Pajamas, and the last time you were here in Montreal, you were runners-up to Space Station in 2020 in front of that crowd cheering for NIP. How does it feel to be back in Montreal knowing that you have now qualified for that main stage event and you'll be playing in front of that crowd once again?
It's really nice to play in front of the crowd. I know the crowd is going to be so big, and I have a lot of memories from the 2020. It was really beautiful. And yeah, I think we really can get this SI. We have like everything to win. And yeah, I'm hyped up. Yeah, I'm the old man,
And I'll be cheering for you.
Julio, last question here. Anything that you want to say to the fans?
Thanks everyone cheering for us, or just like who likes Rainbow Six. I hope you guys like these matches, because we are liking a lot to play. And yeah, let's go w7m.
Love it, Julio. Thank you so much. Fantastic interview, and congratulations again. But all right, analyst desks, let's get to it. And we're going to start off with map 1 here. So that was Border. M80 narrowly wins on W7M's map pick 8-7, and that was actually a great Border. Dev, the Glaz ban and Ying ban, this really affected these teams.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of Glaz and Ying from W7M earlier today in their first match against BDS. Now, I had a little bit of a chat to some of the guys from M80, and apparently they were going to ban Ying, and so when W7M banned Ying, they were like, well, I guess we'll just ban Glaz because W7M have been playing that. I have a fun fact. It's the last time that Glaz was banned at a Six Invitational or at a major was in 2021 at the Mexico major between Team 1 and Cyclops. A lot of people remember that game, the first time and the only time there's ever been a decider match to settle a tiebreaker. But that aside, I just thought it was a bit of fun and very cool.
We love your fun facts, Dev. So, Mandy, it was a little wild here, right? W7M won the first 5 defending rounds, then M80 woke up. They both had very different defense strats.
Yeah, they did. I think that W7M were playing a lot more interior into the building. They had this macro strategy where they sort of segmented off half of the map only. They had these really achievable rotates. And I think as a result, there was just sort of a reservoir of utility that M80 got a bit lost in. M80, on the other hand, leaned a lot into that early game, and they leaned a lot into contesting that entry really early on, sticking their heads inside of the windows and doors on the map. We saw Kino with the shotgun. His shotgun hits diff. His shotgun hits so diff compared to everyone else, and he can stick his head in a window and kill someone trying to enter into the building. I think that, yeah, ultimately they had very different takes on the map, very different defense philosophies on that, but actually both of them worked out.
Okay, I want to transition to map 2 now, Oregon. M80's map pick 7-3. Okay, so Dev, you said Julio is a god in the green room, and we've loved your fun facts. So hit us with another one.
I mean, to be honest, like Julio, I just have been continually impressed with how good he is at that support role, particularly on map 3. So maybe I'll dive into that a bit more later. But for this one, for Oregon, it's once again a defender's game between these two teams. It was up 5-1 at the start for W7M. M80, they only managed to win an attack on their second try of Dorms. And to be honest, it really came down to the fact that Diaz kept them alive with the 1v4 we just saw on screen. And by the end of it, w7m figured out their attacks and they were just unstoppable.
Okay, Mandy, small things went right for w7m, and that really went a long way.
Yeah, I think so. I think Julio just said in his interview really commended their IGL and Volps and even their secondary IGL and Herds as well. This is the meta of ideas. It's the good ideas meta to claw away and get in some rounds. And I think for w7m, both on the attack and the defense, there were just some small micro things, mini games that really went their way, or small tactics that were able to claw together like little zones of the map, or like just generally, okay, let's maybe like let's try play retake on this site, let's play a bit quicker, let's play entry denial, whatever. It's just small ideas that these two IGLs were able to come up with. Each round they had a slightly different approach, and it just felt like it allowed them to cross the line and win the round.
All right, let's go to the decider, Clubhouse. Dev, this was w7m domination station.
Yeah,
they were up 5 rounds, but there was a little bit of a comeback there.
There was a bit of a comeback, and I credit to M80 for being able to mount it. It takes a lot when you're down by such a distinct disadvantage, but it was by the skin of their teeth that they made it close. For example, it took a clutch on CCTV. Julio almost closed the game there with his own clutch, and then an impact plant denial on basement in the second last round for M80 to stay in it. But ultimately, I don't think w7m was ever going to let this slide. They were just so good on their defensive side, and they had some really nice attacks. I love how much they just capitalize on openings they see. I think it was the second last round, 3 guys went up red stairs because they see there's no one watching it and there's no barbed wire. And for me, Julio just had an unbelievable map here. He fragged out, which is not something we often see for him. He's usually the guy you see in the least gunfights and getting the least deaths in the tournament.
That guy was so happy. Did you see him on the interview?
Oh yeah, he's really fun. And he's also about to overtake Nesk as the most experienced player in Rainbow Six Siege for maps played in his career.
Okay, and Mandy, I did want to touch on this as well. w7m's defense strategy. You thought it was solid on map 3.
I did. I thought they had a really good read on the operator bans there. So both Maverick and Thatcher were in. They got kept in. What that means is walls open. The entire map open. And so what that meant is like leaning into early games, pretty bad. The exterior of the map is squishy, it's soft, it's going to be open. So instead they lent into that really strong mid to late round defense. They really just fortified the next layer in. Or the interior of the map. They put their wall denial there instead of putting the wall denial on the exterior walls. They lean into a Zami to try and hold down anchor positions inside of the bomb site. They even leaned into the mirror, a double mirror inside of blue, like just small innovative anchor strategies like that were a lot harder to crack into. And I think that's a really good read into this particular way that Clubhouse plays out when you have both Thatcher and Maverick and you can just open up everything like that.
Okay, and who is our MVP? Any guesses? Here's a hint.
Look,
he did the interview.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Dev called him a god, so there we go. I mean,
Julio.
Is there really a debate here, Dev?
I mean, to be fair, all the other guys on w7m are like breaking kill records and top of the scoreboards all the time, but this guy is a bloody legend. He is always so good in that support role.
Just look at him, he's so smug there. And his little player card as well. Oh, that guy, we stan our support kings of the world. We absolutely stan them. It's not every day that we get to highlight players like this because they're not on top of the scoreboard. They don't have the highest EPS or anything like that, but they do some small things in the server that keep the team flowing. They keep it going. They hold the entire team together. They hold attack strats together like none other. And well, Julio, who's the better guy to do it but him?
I love it. Stan supports for sure. But what an incredible day. So many awesome series. Okay, let's take a look at the brackets, a look back, a look ahead. Dev, I'm putting you in the hot seat first. Upper bracket, break it down for me.
So, I mean, we were pretty fortunate to see the BDS w7m game right down your bottom left, but there were a lot of bangers here. Sonic's DZ was another really tight rivalry, and I think that most people, particularly the North American guys that we were chatting to, were expecting Sonics to come out in that. I think Jacob actually put Sonics in the grand final as well. So for DZ to get that win is absolutely huge. Following through M&M Oxygen, I also see this as quite an upset, especially that it was a 2-0. M&M previously were undefeated. That's a huge win for the Oxygen guys. Wolves as well. I mean, I'm just going through all these ones have such exciting storylines. For me, with Wolves, it's the fact that Rise from Wolves has never been on the main stage at SI before.
Okay, we got to talk about the lower bracket, Mandy.
So this lower bracket, do or die. There are some teams in here that I don't think we expected to be in here. G2 being one of them, right? A lot of us were saying, wow, G2 looks so good in this tournament. They look amazing. And here they are in the lower bracket against FaZe Clan. That is a little bit of a terrifying matchup if I'm looking at it from their POV. Space Station Heroic is one that interests me as well. Space Station hasn't done as well as we thought they would, and Heroic, a wounded Heroic, of course, not being able to bring in their full 5 roster. I think every matchup in this lower bracket is still pretty tight, though. I think that do or die, the pressure is on. You did not want to get eliminated here.
I absolutely love that. Predictions time. I'm not thrilled to go to this part because my predictions are awful. And I'm about to be embarrassed. So let's put it on the screen. I don't know, y'all, are you doing better than me?
Actually,
I'm smiling, mine's terrible.
I'm smiling for a different reason. It's because they really do me dirty with the fun.
Okay, this is our top 4 right here?
Surely not. I think this is just the first 4.
Okay.
But Fresh absolutely farming that try hard.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, I'm not doing too bad. 29's right.
What's happening there?
I'm going to be real with you.
Okay.
Our talent manager actually did my predictions today.
Oh, no. At least Jacob is at the bottom. Poor Jacob. I don't want to see mine. I think I might be worse than Jacob. Are they going to show mine? We don't have to show mine. That's totally fine. I don't want to be embarrassed. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Yeah, that's great. Don't show me or Milos. Absolutely no reason to do that. Okay, but let's talk about tomorrow. A lot of amazing series on the docket. So let's start off with Stream A, shall we? Roll it up. Okay, so we begin with Stream A, and we have SSG versus Heroic, Astralis versus Sonics. In the loser bracket, W7M versus the winner of SSG versus Heroic. Oh, my bad, sorry, M80, I apologize. And then Lost One versus the winner of Astralis and Sonics. And then we got FaZe versus G2 for Stream B. Team Liquid versus BDS. As for the loser bracket, Dark Zero, and I believe they're gonna be playing the winner of FaZe or G2. Then M&M takes on the winner of Liquid or BDS. I'm honestly still shocked at our lower bracket.
You know what shocks me is that we are sending home 8 teams tomorrow. Isn't that absolutely unreal? And one of them is either going to be BDS or Liquid, which Liquid hasn't performed that well this tournament. But for me, I was really thinking that BDS, Liquid, W7M were the top 3 out of this event. I was convinced.
BDS has had a rocky road.
They have,
real rocky.
But they did potentially verse the best team in the tournament today and get knocked down to the lower bracket. So I think that they're actually probably favored over Team Liquid. But it's still insane to me that Nesk and Palu may well get knocked out.
Mandy, thoughts?
Thoughts? I just can't believe that we're getting FaZe G2.
Iconic.
You know, that's an iconic matchup. That's exactly right.
It's wild.
In the
So many
lower
big
bracket.
names in the lower bracket. No,
exactly
I totally
right.
agree. It's crazy. All right, well, first and foremost, want to say thank you to both of you, my fantastic analysts. Always love working with y'all, even though you left me out of the pink thing that's going on here.
Tomorrow. How about that, Jackie?
Okay, we'll coordinate tomorrow. We'll work on that. And also want to say thank you to everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. I cannot wait. See you then.